Can you guys hear me? I think everything is good. How's it going tonight? We have the Leagues Cup final between the Columbus Crew and LAFC. Should be a very interesting game. Two of the best teams, if not the two best teams in Major League Soccer, facing off again. This is a rematch of the 2023 MLS Cup final, which that was a really good game. So this should be an interesting game too. Know a lot of you people have heard my criticism of Leagues Cup, but hey, listen, this is a good game. This is a great matchup, two of the best teams. So I'm going to take it for what it is. It's going to be a really good matchup, and I can't wait to see what happens. We got Olivier Giroud starting tonight, which is going to be interesting to see how he does. Sorry, I got to sign into my Apple TV account real quick. But it's going to be interesting to see if Olivier Giroud can get his first goal as an LAFC player. Obviously, Marco Reus, the LA Galaxy's star signing or big name signing this offseason, got his first goal last night. Will be interesting to see. Interesting to see if Marco or Olivier Giroud can do the same. I'm curious to see what happens. What do you guys think the score is going to be? I asked this earlier. What do you think the score of the match is going to be tonight? Horacio Rodriguez says, is there a reason why people go live with the blank screen? Yeah, I mean, I just had to go get me a drink real quick and use the restroom and give a chance for everybody to pour in here. And while I did that, instead of just starting up right away with like 3 people. So that's why I do it. Matthew Garcia says, what's up? How's it going, Matthew? Roller says, good morning, MLS moves. I don't know where you're at, Roller, but how's it going? Isaac says, who you taking to win? I actually have, give me 1 second because we got Danny Solana, one of my good friends, coming in here. He's going to give us a preview of what he thinks is going to happen. And then I'll give you my preview or my prediction of what's going to happen tonight. Danny, what's up, man? I think your mic's muted, actually.
I apologize. How's it going, Will? Everything going well?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for this game tonight.
Me too.
It's a good matchup.
I think so too. I mean, you got the defending MLS champions, possibly now going to be the new MLS or the new Leagues Cup champions. You've got a team on the West Coast who has made some rumblings with some awesome signings this year. Giroud, I saw you tweeted he's getting the start, which is fantastic. And obviously you can't discount the signing of Lloris, who, although maybe he hasn't shown he's still the best goalkeeper, he still has key saves in big games. And so you're going to probably be looking for Giroud to possibly score tonight and definitely for Lloris to be a big force in the goal.
Yes, well, real quick, I got 2 more comments real quick. Roller says New Jersey at 7:17, but I just woke up. Man, you got an interesting sleep schedule. I used to be kind of like that as well. Corey McKee, hey, bud. Hope you enjoyed the game. Keep up the great work or the good work. Appreciate it, Corey. Thanks for tuning in, man. Always appreciate the support from all my friends. Yeah, I mean, Hugo Lloris, obviously a World Cup winner. Olivier Giroud, World Cup winner. A lot of the pedigree of winning, right? And then LAFC arguably has been the best team in the league the last 3 years. Now Columbus is giving them a run for their money now. So I think that this is going to be 2 heavyweights with a lot of experience. You have it was even you, Danny, who said this, but it's the Columbus Crew with maybe a bunch of not no names, but unknown names, players who have built their resume in MLS and kind of have become household names throughout the league. And, Columbus is a well-known team, amongst MLS fans. Most MLS fans know who Diego Rossi, Cucho Hernandez, obviously people know Darlington Nagbe, and so on and so forth. So, yes, it's two different styles of teams, but both of them are very good. And this is going to be interesting to see who comes on top. I will say this, though. Steve Cherundolo has played Wilfried Nancy 2 times since Wilfried Nancy's been the Columbus Crew coach. And he has lost 2 times to him. They have never beat the Columbus Crew since Nancy has been the manager. He's 0-2 against them. And it will be interesting to see if he's able to turn that around and, get his first win against Wilfried Nancy and the Crew.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. We also can't discount what Wilfried Nancy has done for Columbus. I mean, I think before he got there, they were just starting to rebuild. They brought him in, and then they started bringing in, most of their signings. They brought Diego Rossi back, during the summer transfer window last year, and they made a couple of nice signings during the transfer window this year. They got DeJuan Jones over from New England Revolution. He's already had a great start playing left back for them. And they also signed Andres Herrera, which we talked about when we did the Columbus Crew Inter Miami live stream a couple weeks ago. That he's a player that comes from River Plate, and it's going to add, something to that back line. And then you also can't forget about the names that have already been on the team, like Farsi and like Christian Ramirez and these other guys who just add to the firepower that, Columbus has built. It's not, like you said, it's not stars or name power, but it's more so a complete team coming together and playing as a team. And they do play beautiful football.
Yeah. Also, guys, before we continue on, if you don't mind, please like this video or the live stream, share with a friend, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We appreciate the support. It's kind of crazy, Denny. This is the last Leagues Cup live stream we're doing together, because we've done, what have we done, like 3 or 4 of them so far or something like that. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy that this is coming to an end, at least for this tournament. But I'm sure you and I will do more during the MLS Cup playoffs. But yeah, man, I think that the Crew is the perfect model for every MLS team who might not be able to attract the biggest names to follow to have a successful organization. Diego Rossi, I was I wouldn't say I was skeptical, because he was very good, fellow Uruguayan, obviously, right? But he was very good with LAFC. But I think he's the best form of him, or version of himself right now that we've ever seen. He went to, was it Fenerbahce, I think, in the Turkish Super League. He came back. He's been very good. I was a little skeptical about them selling Zelarayan, because he was so good for the Columbus Crew. Those 2 or 3 years he was here, he helped them win an MLS Cup. But hey, man, Diego Rossi has been the real deal. And I think that he is equally as important to them winning that cup in 2023 as Cucho Hernandez or any other player. He might be the most important piece to help them have won that cup in 2023, outside of Wilfred Nancy. But if we're just talking on the pitch.
Absolutely. I mean, but I think Wilfred Nancy has something to do with that, because for somebody who doesn't watch Columbus, maybe as often as, you and I might watch them, and for those of you joining, I can tell you, if you watch Columbus, their 3 forwards, or, their 2 forwards, or the 2 10s and the forward, they switch every 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes, they're switching. And that causes complete havoc for defenses, because you could have Cucho, playing on the left for 20 minutes. Then he's going to play on the right for 20 minutes. Then in the central for 20 minutes. And so you've got these 3 guys up front, when Christian Ramirez is also in there, who are just constantly switching places. And, technically, they're all 3 very good players. Tactically, also very good players. And not only that, they're, Diego Rossi and Cucho, they're very good forwards. They dribble the ball very well, and they're pretty quick. So absolutely. I mean, it's definitely one of the more threatening attacks in the MLS, no doubt.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing too. I was talking to my buddy Nick at Voices of Black and Gold maybe 20 or 30 minutes ago, and he asked me who I thought was going to win. And I think LAFC could win this game. They obviously have the talent, but I just think that we see this in all kinds of different sports, Danny. Even if a team is better, there's situations where a team can have your number. Even if you're the less talented team, you're able to find a way to beat the better team. It's happened in numerous sports, right? Because if that wasn't the case, then the Warriors would have won they would have won the finals every single year in the NBA. But there was obviously they lost to the Raptors. That, you know what I'm saying, though. There's been some underdog stories where you see teams who might not be the favorite, they just are able to win. And I think that that's what the Columbus Crew are. I feel like they have LAFC's number. Now that could change. I'm not saying that the LAFC is going to lose to them every single time they play in history with these 2 coaches. But right now, it just seems like they do have their number, and it feels like the Columbus Crew are LAFC's kryptonite.
It does seem that way, but look, Will, in soccer's a little bit different than basketball and football, in the sense that I think usually in basketball and in football and other American sports, usually the heavily favored team or the team who's favored, especially in basketball, because it's only 5 players on the court, usually the heavily favored team is going to win. In soccer, though, there's 11 players. You can essentially park the bus. And in a tournament, like the Leagues Cup, if LAFC really wanted to, and it doesn't look like they're going to because they're playing a 3-4-3, but they could essentially park the bus, go for a 0-0 tie, and win in penalties. We've seen a lot of teams do that. You have a team in Costa Rica that in the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, they went far. They reached the quarterfinals, and how did they do it? Getting to penalties, and they had a great goalie in Keylor Navas, and he saved them. So I think in soccer, it's easier for I guess the underdog to beat the favorite. But I don't think there's any underdogs tonight, Will. I think both of these teams are stacked favorites to definitely get to the Leagues Cup final, obviously, and favorites to possibly win the MLS Cup or challenge for it. So I don't see any underdogs tonight. I'm looking at the lineups. I mean, they're all going full force, and I'm looking forward to a great game tonight.
Yeah, the only person that I saw that wasn't starting is Patrick Schulte isn't starting in goal for the Columbus Crew tonight, which that's obviously a huge miss because he's been he's been one of the best goalkeepers in the league the last 2 seasons, maybe even the future USMNT #1. But I think LAFC I think they've outscored their opponents 11-1 in their last 3 matches in Leagues Cup. So this is so tricky, man. I think it's, if I had to pick a player who this is really going to, that's going to determine that the outcome of this game, I think it's going to be Olivier Giroud because he's the big name signing for LAFC. They brought him in here because they've needed a number 9 since Chicho Arango left after the 2022 season. And I believe that the weight is going to be on his shoulders to really come through for this team. And I believe he's going to be the X factor player for this team to decide if they can finally get that burden off their back and be able to beat the Columbus Crew. Now, Denis Bouanga obviously is a baller too. He's always coming through for him. So, if I had to pick one player, I think it's going to have to be Olivier Giroud. He's going to have to be the X factor for LAFC to beat the Columbus Crew in this match.
I totally agree. Especially with the sale of Kike Oliveira going over to Toluca. And there's also some skepticism about what's going to happen with Bogus as well. I've heard some rumors about them. But, I mean, I think the two guys, like you said, Giroud's going to have to be a difference maker. But definitely keep your eye on number 99, Denis Bouanga, who's been an absolute terror, on the attack for LAFC over the last, 2 years, it seems like. And they continue to hold on to him. I've read in social media posts, that they don't even want to let him go for 15-20 million. So that's really, really crazy, the numbers that they're talking about him. But I'm with you, Will. I think if LAFC is going to end up lifting the cup tonight, it's going to be Oliver Giroud that puts them on their back and either, is able to give out a couple of assists to some of his teammates or, indeed put himself on the scoring sheet and score 1 or 2 goals. And, that could definitely be the difference maker in this game.
One of the things I love about this matchup too is in MLS, and I'm sure a lot of the people realize, I think you would believe this, I think a lot of people would believe this. A lot of the rivalries are forced. They're not organic. They try to make you hate these other teams, which it just doesn't feel right. Now, El Clasico is like the one where it actually feels like, it was kind of forced because obviously it's a crosstown rival and the league really pushed it, but it kind of built up itself and it is the best rivalry in MLS, in my opinion. I don't think it's even close. But these 2 teams, they keep meeting in these finals. I don't think they like each other. I know the fans don't like each other. This is something the MLS needs, is to have these organic rivalries build themselves up. And this is nice to see. Nobody's forcing this. It's just happening because these are 2 of the best teams and they keep meeting up. This is the second major trophy that they played each other in the last 12 months. And this is what they need. They need to have these organic rivalries build themselves. And hopefully the Crew and LAFC can become something historic. That's what MLS has no history, right? I mean, they do, but it's very shallow. We're building it right now. And this is a piece of the puzzle, another piece of the puzzle. And I'm excited to see what happens and what comes out of it.
I'll tell you, man, I was on the local radio down here yesterday, and they asked me a question regarding, the Saudi league versus the MLS league and talking about how the Saudi league offered Vinny Jr. $2 billion for 3 years and all this crazy stuff. And they asked me my opinion on if the Saudi League was ever going to be able to compete with the MLS. And I'll tell you, my opinion on that, and the reason why I'm going there, and I'll explain it after, is I don't think Saudi League will ever be able to compete with the MLS. Why? Because all they do is throw money at big name players. What the MLS has in their advantage, which the Saudi League doesn't, is the MLS has a pretty decent infrastructure in terms of their academies, MLS Next Pro. And so what we see in the MLS is a lot of the MLS teams have young players who are feeding through their academies. And then they combine them with young players from either South America or Europe that they purchase. And then they purchase one or two, great players or big name players. Whereas in Saudi Arabia, I mean, if you follow the league, I don't really follow the league that closely, but I do follow some of the games. I mean, half the games out there, they don't even get more than 5,000 fans. I mean, this is to see, Cristiano Ronaldo and some other folks. So it's clearly obvious that the MLS is going in the right direction in terms of being a better league, being one of the top leagues. But like you and I have talked about, Will, there's still a lot of room left to grow. I think you made a great point on social media the other day, talking about, Don Garber. He was celebrating his 25th anniversary as the commissioner. And you were spot on. I think it might be time for Don to tip his cap and say, hey, I had my time here, and move on. It might be time for some new, fresh ideas that could probably expand the game within the United States a little bit more. So I'm with you on that, on your tweet. I think that's the right way to go. But in terms of where MLS ranks, I think MLS is definitely going in the right direction. There's just some tweaks that need to be made along the way.
What's funny, and I tweeted this as well. Last year, Leagues Cup was just like the craziest sugar rush I'd ever experienced. Like, as far as MLS, you had Messi come to the league. You had this tournament with both leagues, Liga MX and MLS, playing all their teams. It was something we had never seen before. And then obviously the Messi sprinkle on it just, was, chef's kiss, best thing that we've ever seen in MLS, at least in my opinion, entertainment wise. Right. And then when MLS came back, like the regular season, it was kind of like I was completely deflated. It felt like the season was dragging on afterwards. And we were just kind of like, just waiting for the playoffs to start. It was just not fulfilling. This year is the complete opposite. I'm ready for the regular season to start back up. I'm excited. I feel like the Leagues Cup hasn't had the same zip that it had last year. Obviously, everybody's heard me say that numerous times. I understand. I'm not hating. I'm just being honest. Okay. But this feels like it's been a break to a certain degree. And I'm excited to see the regular season come back and see what happens, and see if Inter Miami wins a Supporter Shield, if LAFC is able to catch them, if the Galaxy is able to catch them. I'm excited to see that. And I didn't feel that way last year. So I feel like the momentum, the excitement leading into the playoffs is going to be better than it has been in a couple years for me personally. I can't wait, man. I cannot wait. I'm glad that I'm not checked out or bored or dreading it. I'm excited.
Well, I mean, I think it also makes a little bit of a difference that Inter Miami, is on top of the standings this year. We know that a lot of folks around the league, a lot of supporters of other teams, are not fans or are just, typically not happy with what Inter Miami has done and how they've constructed their roster. So I think all of those storylines are adding fuel to the fire in terms of this last stretch. Of course, there's a lot of things that can happen. LAFC has 2 games in hand. They're back about, if I'm not mistaken, 9 points of Inter Miami. Inter Miami just pulled away in the Eastern Conference from, Cincinnati. They're 8 points clear of them, but Columbus has 3 games in hand. So Columbus can get to 52 points, which would leave them 4 shy. Those are just the storylines in the East. Also, you have LAFC who could, like I said, possibly catch them. That's the storyline there. And then the other one is, can Inter Miami break the all-time season scoring record in terms of points, which is 73? If they win, I think it's 6 out of their last 8 games, they go ahead and they break the all-time season points record for a Supporter Shield champion. And so again, all those storylines I think are just fueling it to make it a much more interesting final last stretch.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. So Inter Miami has 56 points. Like you said, 8 games left. They're in good position. I mean, they do have to win 6 of their last 8, or they could win 5 of their last 8 and obviously get 3 draws and beat the record. I think they could do it, honestly. I mean, their toughest stretch this season was when Messi and Suarez and all the players were out for Copa America or the Olympics. I think they could easily do that and break the record. And then LAFC's 2 games, they have 2 games in hand. Played 2 less games than Inter Miami has. They're at 47 points. So let's just say hypothetically they win their next 2 games. They're still 3 points behind, but that's still a very close race. I mean, one loss could put that at a tie. And I think LAFC. Okay, so LAFC scored there. There's an 18 goal difference. They've scored 48, and Inter Miami scored 58. I mean, Inter Miami has been pouring it on this year. The problem is they've been conceding a lot too. They've given up almost 40 goals this year. So that'd be an interesting race to keep up with and see what happens. But I think that I just hope that for entertainment purposes, right? Just to preface this, I don't care who wins MLS Cup, whether it be the Rapids, Austin FC, Atlanta United, which we know is not going to happen, by the way. I don't care who it is. I do want to see Inter Miami not burn out in the first, like just be a regular season team and then get bounced in the first round. I want to see an interesting playoffs, and I want to see hopefully Messi come back and play. I mean, who doesn't want to see Messi at least play in the playoffs? Hopefully he's back before then. But
I mean, I can give you a little update on that. So, Tata Martino, he spoke to the media a couple days ago and said that Messi's already doing some individual drills with the ball on the field, just not in front of the media. So the media hasn't been able to see it. I would think a lot of folks are saying he might get some minutes this weekend against Chicago because the game's in Soldier Field. There's probably going to be 65,000 folks, and it's obviously being marketed as Messi coming to Chicago. So a lot of folks are thinking that maybe he might get 15, 20 minutes. I'm not sure. I would probably put my money on the Philadelphia game, which is on September 14th. That'll give him about three more weeks to get fully fit. And then I think you'll start to see Tata Martino start to work him back in. I know a lot of folks have said that maybe he should wait until 1 or 2 games before the playoffs. I think that's ridiculous. I think once you're healthy, you got to come back. You got to start getting back in form with your team. And if Inter Miami is going to win the cup, they're going to need Messi. I know they've shown great resilience without him this year, but let's be real. To win cups and to win important games, you need your best players on the pitch, and he's the best player in the league.
He has got to play. I think he's got to play like you said, as many games as he can before the playoffs, because I was talking about this with our friend, fellow Uruguayan Favi Ranko last night, and I've talked about this with him on the phone and other friends. Look, Messi is the best player of all time, but the way things are going right now, his time in MLS has not been exactly the ideal situation. He's only played 18 of 43 or 41 matches he could play. That's a disaster. I don't want to look back on the Messi era and think, man, what if? I want to see what is. Like, I want to see the results and have fond memories of what he contributed, not off the pitch with the eyes he brought to the league. I want to see what he did on the pitch, what he's playing. And they need him to get back healthy and start playing again. And I would say that if things continue the way they have, Danny, if he misses half a season next year too, that signing is looking like a bust, especially on the field. On the field, it is. Got to be healthy, man.
I think all around, folks are going to call it a bust. And the reason being is because obviously a lot of buzz came with the Messi signing. Not only did the buzz come, but the tickets skyrocketed. And so now folks have a sour taste in their mouth because they're paying $200-300 to for a game that's going to happen in 5 months. And you don't even know if Messi's going to play. And so if he doesn't play, then obviously those tickets are worth $20-30 because that's what we're seeing in the market here in South Florida. It's really sad. But I mean, unfortunately, that's what the market is. If Messi doesn't play, the tickets are usually $20-30. So that's why, in my opinion, it's more of a bust than anything, because there was so much expectation for Messi to come and so much money kind of invested in it. And folks are investing their own money to go watch him, even folks that come out of the States to come to an MLS game to watch him, and he's not playing. So if he misses another half a season, yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it'll be a positive for Inter Miami in terms of, their brand and keeping their brand global and expanding. And Messi will stay close to the team. But overall for the MLS, I'm with you, man. Complete bust just because of everything that I said.
Well, I just pull this up. So this is Ronaldo. Ronaldo's 2 years older than Messi, which, add that to the equation. Actually, it's more like 2.5 years older than Messi. And he went to Al Nasser halfway through in his first season. He played 16 matches, so that's pretty much lines up with him playing half the year, which is, he didn't really miss many games. Then last year he played pretty much every game, and then obviously the season just started, but he's playing games. So that's why you would say that maybe his signing in the Saudi Pro League has been more successful because he's actually playing. I mean, he's played 48 games. Let's disregard the goals because we know what the league's about. But he's making appearances, which is the most important thing. And then you look at Messi, who signed last summer. I mean, he's only played 12 games this year. He only played 6 last year. I think there was like 10 games he could have played last year, so he missed 4. But he has missed, let's see, so he's missed 14 matches this year. He's only played 12 games. He's going to miss a couple more games. I mean, to think that Messi's been here since last June, he's only played 18 regular season matches for Inter Miami is kind of astonishing. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, but you got to go back, Will. You got to check out to see how many of those games was he really injured? How many did he miss because of the FIFA window? So remember, earlier in the year, like in March, he went to go play with Argentina and he missed games. The same thing happened in Copa America and he missed games. So it's not like he's missing games really due to injury. Now he is because he got injured with the national team. But, last year it was the same way. I mean, he played, I think it was 7 games in like 24 days or something like that. Inter Miami won the Leagues Cup. He went to go play for Argentina and he got injured. So it was a lot of games that he played in a short amount of time. And unfortunately, he got injured. So last year it was due to injury. This year, I think it's more due to international duty that he's missed games, except for this little stretch here of Leagues Cup and these last couple games. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think he needs to be on the pitch in order for this to be successful. And fans are not happy with the raising of ticket prices in South Florida. With Messi not playing, that's their biggest argument is, hey, you guys are charging us all this money. And the guy who you're charging us for is not even playing. Like, we're paying a Messi premium and Messi's not playing. So folks down here are upset. I mean, and understandably so. I get it. I give him a lot of crap because, I'm a little bit more diehard and passionate about soccer. And I don't care if Messi's not playing.
You're an Inter Miami fan, not a Messi fan.
I'm a soccer fan. Yeah, I would go to the game regardless. So, and I have been going to the games regardless. So yeah, absolutely. But I still think, $50-$60 is worth it to go watch Suarez, Alba, Busquets, and Gomez, and these other young players who are fantastic. I mean, last night's game was a beautiful game between both teams. It was back and forth. It was lovely. Hopefully today's game is a lot nicer. It just kicked off, but
we officially kicked off. Here we go. Leagues Cup final. Let's go. My prediction too, because I didn't say this. I think it's going to be 3-2 Columbus Crew. Didn't mean for that to rhyme either. But I think it's going to be 3-2 Columbus Crew. I think it's going to be an uphill battle, and it's also on the road too. I think that's going to be difficult. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, Giroud's going to have a big game.
I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to say 2-2 and LAFC wins on penalties.
I mean, penalties has been a common theme in this tournament, right? I mean, that's set a lot of scores. It feels like you said this earlier, that was a strategy. Maybe get this game to a draw and then go to PKs and then try to win it that way.
I mean, you do have Hugo Lloris, so it could be a strategy. Why not? I mean, one thing that you mentioned a little earlier, that you said how Leagues Cup this year wasn't as I guess as exhilarating or maybe as entertaining as it was last year. Obviously, last year you had the Messi mania and him scoring all those late goals, and that was great. People were happy and not fun, or happy to watch because Messi was new and all that. Obviously, there was no Messi this year, but I still think we got a lot of really good games for folks who do enjoy watching it. I mean, you got to see Austin FC win a couple of games against some of the Liga MX teams, and they were great games, against Monterrey and against Pumas. Obviously, the MLS games, that's got to change, man. You can't have LAFC playing Seattle 5 times in 1 year. You just can't. Or you can't have San Jose playing the Galaxy 4 times. Those things have to change. And I think that's where League Cup can tweak and make, some adjustments. Maybe the top, I don't know, 18 teams go to Leagues Cup with the 18 teams from Liga MX, and the bottom 9 teams go to the US Open Cup. I mean, maybe you fix it that way. Or, I mean, I don't know, but you got to come up with new ideas to get new matchups in here, because if you continue to get the same matchups, folks are not going to watch.
I think they should try to get the players' perspective, because they're the ones playing the games and like doing the traveling and all that. I think they should ask them what they think could enhance the experience of the Leagues Cup. We did a stream last night talking about it, and there's a couple things they could change, but I think the host city idea was suggested by Liga MX teams. That way they didn't have to travel as much, and they kind of did have like a temporary home, if you want to call it that. I don't know, man. I still think that this shouldn't be played every single year, because then it takes the specialty out of it. I say this all the time. If the World Cup was played every year, it would be a big deal, but it wouldn't be as big of a deal is what
Correct.
it is. So
Correct.
I think if this was played, at least play this every other year. Play it on off years where there's no Copa America, Euros, or World Cup, and it'll be a bigger deal. Give you a year. It'll give you 2 years in between and something to look forward to.
Yeah, maybe invite some teams from South America or from from other countries in Central America, maybe a team from Japan or a couple teams from Saudi Arabia. I mean, why not? I mean, at this point, there's really nothing to lose. Fans, essentially tuned out this year. Most teams, had supporters group boycotting. I got into it with some Inter Miami fans because I said, I said that if you are a season ticket holder and you didn't go to the games and you didn't even watch the games because you were boycotting Leagues Cup, that's ridiculous, and you should have your season tickets revoked. And some folks got upset at me, and I can understand why. I mean, I shouldn't tell you how to be a fan, but I'm just really passionate, Will. I mean, me personally, I don't really care what tournament my club is playing. I don't care if it's a cash grab. Like, my club's playing, I'm supporting. If I can't afford it, I'm going to a bar to watch it on TV, or I'm watching it at home, or I'm doing whatever I can to watch it, but I don't know, man. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that fans didn't, turn up. It could have been the ticket prices. But it's just unfortunate, because we just want soccer to grow in this country. The only way to do that is by people attending and watching and just, doing more of that.
Foul right side of the box on, I think it was Maria, I think was he fouled Matty Bogusz right outside the box. Yeah, I don't know. A couple people have asked where they can watch the game. It's on Apple TV. I'm not sure if this Apple TV does offer some games for free. I don't know if they're offering this game for free because I logged into my account. But I would try to go to appletv.com and just see if you're able to watch it. You might have to create an account. That might be the only thing you have to do, but I think the game might actually be free to watch, because they do offer a lot of these games for free. Like, I think I want to say 35 to 40% of MLS games are free to watch, as long as you have an account, which it's free to make an account. So it take you a few minutes, make an account, see if you can watch this game. Atmosphere looks great too. I talked about this last night, that there was a lot of games that were kind of pitiful crowd, attendance, right? But this looks like a championship game. This looks like the stadium's packed, fans look engaged. Look like there's some LAFC fans that traveled for this match, which you love to see that, right? You don't want to add a little spice to it, right? You don't want it to be just one-sided completely. So that the 32-52, I think there were some fans here for the match. So that's nice to see. But this, like I said earlier, Leagues Cup, it just feels kind of forced, a lot of things, but this rivalry is organically becoming something. And I think that that's why people are here, because they know that this is going to be something. This could be one of many other matchups. This could be, hell, they might even see each other in the Champions Cup. They might see each other in the MLS finals again. So this is something that's starting to brew, and this is starting to be a big time rivalry in MLS. Love to see it. We need more of it.
Absolutely. It's two teams who play a very nice brand of soccer facing off in a final. There's really nothing much better that you could have gotten, other than maybe Club America or Chivas or one of the big Liga MX teams making the final. I think that's, that would have only made a little bit of a difference maybe in terms of attendance. But I'm watching like you will. I mean, it's slammed. It doesn't look like there's a lot of empty seats at all, which
No.
is interesting to see, considering all the empty seats we saw in the first, 5 rounds.
It's rough, man. Mr. brought up a point here. I want to read his. I want to get the chat involved a little bit. He said one thing they could do is have the U.S. side of the draw hosted in the U.S. and a Mexico side of the draw hosted in Mexico. Then the final is MLS versus Liga MX. Alternate which country hosts the final. So he's saying have all the Mexican teams play in Mexico, have all the MLS teams. The only problem with that is that kind of takes away from the appeal of having all of them play each other. So that's one of the downsides for that. But one thing that I did think about, I talked about this with Favi, is what if when we get to the round of 16, then you start, there's only going to be, obviously there's 16 teams left. That's a lot less logistical issues. What if at that point you start having Liga MX teams play at home? Once you get down to like the round of 16, if you make it to round of 16, then a Liga MX team can host a home game if they're the higher seed.
Yeah, I mean that sounds fine too. The biggest issue that I think that makes the some of the games redundant is the fact that there's 29 MLS teams in the tournament and only 18 Liga MX teams. So you've got 11 more MLS teams in the tournament, and that's why you get some of these redundant matchups over and over. I mean, I understand what Mr. is saying, but you're right, man. I mean, if you play a US one, a US bracket and a Mexico bracket, you're just getting more of the same games. And obviously the fan appeal here is to have your team, host an America or a Chivas or a Toluca or one of these Mexican teams that you don't get to see all the time. Especially, I mean, if you have your team, hosting a Chivas, you got Cade Cowell playing there. I mean, that would be great to go watch Cade Cowell playing for Chivas.
So it looks get a little chippy there between Cucho and Aaron Long. I agree. There's going to have to be some changes regardless. They can't keep it the same way. Darian says he's a Celtic fan tuning in to watch Matty Bogusz. Hey, Matty Bogusz is the truth, man. I don't know for sure if that deal is happening. I think that would be very bad on LAFC's part to get rid of Kike and Matty Bogusz. I mean, getting rid of one of them is bad enough, but getting rid of both is just kind of like the death knell for maybe their MLS Cup chances. Ooh. Deflection. Didn't see who. Maybe was that Darlington Nagbe that shot that? Yeah, it was Darlington Nagbe. I don't think the LAFC can afford to get rid of both of them. I think they're going to have to keep at least one of them. I go back and forth. Kike is very good, very very good. I'm actually a little disappointed he's going to Toluca. I thought maybe he would go back to Europe after being able to get some minutes and develop a little bit over here in MLS. But Matty Bogusz is that would be a tough loss for LAFC.
Now, playing devil's advocate here, do you think that if they go ahead and sell him, it's possibly getting them ready to make a big signing in the offseason? Because, they made some money off this Kike Olivera deal with Kike going to Toluca, replacing, fellow Uruguayan Maxi Araujo, who had a great Copa America and signed to Sporting Lisboa. So that's why he's going to Toluca to replace him. But if they sell, Matty Bogusz, then that could possibly mean the Griezmann deal might be happening in the winter. He scored a goal today with Atletico. So who knows what's going to happen? But if they're trying to shed salary, it could be them trying to make some space for the future.
So from what I've heard, it's not necessarily that. It's just more of them. With a couple of players they had, like Sifu Cifuentes, they didn't sell him when they didn't strike when the iron was hot. They waited too long, held on him too, and his stock went from like maybe they could have got 8 to 9 million for him, and then they ended up letting him. I think he was actually a free transfer to Rangers, or it was very little because his deal was running out in like 6 months. So I've heard it's more of them just wanting to sell while things like their stock is at an all-time high, so they don't miss out on the chance to lose money on them. But the problem is if they sell both of them, they're hurting their chances to win MLS Cup significantly. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kike is on the bench right now. I think he's going to play in this game. They think the agreement was with Toluca that he would this would be his last match with LAFC, and then he would make his move official to Toluca. But I think that there's stipulations where he couldn't start. He has to only play. There's a cap on how many minutes he can play because they obviously don't want him to get hurt right before the deal. So I think that was kind of the agreement. And now I have no idea about the Bogusz, like how far along that is. But you can't sell. Imagine this. Imagine if Diego Gomez was sold now. Imagine if Federico Redondo was sold right now. How much would that hinder Inter Miami's chances of winning the cup if you got rid of both of those players right now and you can't replace them
No, I
because the
mean,
window's closed?
it'd be huge. Well, it's closed, but it's not closed. Remember, Will, teams have until September 13th
Free
to sign free
transfers.
agents, right? Free
Yeah.
agents. So, and look, I was looking up the other day. There's still some pretty interesting names on the market, and there's still players that are negotiating deals and could possibly be cut free from their deals. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's probably a handful more signings left to happen before September 13th. Let's remember, Inter Miami still holds a international roster spot that they purchased for some GAM or some TAM. I forget. I don't know who they purchased it from. So I know that Inter Miami is trying to make a move. There was, some, talk about a player from the Argentina C division, a forward coming here, which would be really weird unless they were going to sell Campana, another player who probably was sold or not sold when the iron was hot, right? Will, you and I have talked about that quite a lot over the last 6 or 7 months. How his
stock's at an all-time low right now for since he's been a Miami player, at least all-time low.
Absolutely. I mean, I think last year was a year to sell him. He had a great end to the season. And it just didn't happen. So I can understand why LAFC is doing what they're doing, but they have to start thinking, like, if they want to win MLS Cup, is this the right move, to make for the team? Obviously, this is a business, so I'm sure the front office wants to make some cash and fill their pockets. But at what expense does that come with, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And 20. So if they sell Matty for around like 8 to 10, which is what I think he'll go for if he ends up being sold for Celtic or to Celtic. Kike is being reported to be sold for 8. So, 16 to $18 million is great business for them. And next year they'll be able to convert, or maybe they can do it now actually, but you can't really sign anybody except the free transfer. Limits your options, right? You could sign a free agent for, or you can convert like 3 million of that into GAM, which is huge. That adds a lot more money to the pile. I wish it was more than that, but hey, that's definitely better than what it is right now. So they'll be able to sell these players, replace them, and have $3 million in additional GAM. So they'll be able to wash, rinse, and repeat, which is what they've done so well and why they probably have had the most talented roster in MLS. And they've had more talent because they've had extra GAM that other teams haven't had from selling all these players. I think Inter Miami is about to do the same thing. They obviously are selling Diego Gomez for, was it 15 million or I think it's 18 million with add-ons. I think that's what it could be to Brighton. So they're going to be able to convert. They're going to open up a U22 spot so they could have the 4, or they could buy down Campana and have a DP. Or I think these actually have already been bought down. They've got 4. I can't remember how they designated their roster for the remainder of the season.
They went the U22 route.
Four U22s.
That's right.
Yes. So next year they'll get Facundo Frias. They'll have 3. They can either add another U22 and get the additional GAM, or they can have the 3 DPs and keep their 3 U22s. But regardless of, they're gonna have 3 million in GAM that they can use next year from the Diego Gomez signing. So imagine how many other maybe Messi friends they can sign. Resign Jordi Alba, resign Luis Suarez, bring in a couple other players. That will be interesting to see what happens. I wonder, speaking of Facundo Frias, I'm wondering what he's going to look like when he gets back, because I think he was really talented. Very sad to see him get injured this season. But if he hadn't have gotten injured, they wouldn't have been able to sign Redondo. That would have never happened. That was the reason they were able to sign him, was because because Frias got hurt and they were able to designate his spot to Federico Redondo, and he's a very good player for MLS, right? He's not a guy who traditionally come here. He had a lot of European interest. So they seem like Inter Miami seems like they're starting to follow the LAFC model, where they're buying these young talented players and they're flipping them and replacing them and getting GAM in the process of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that should be the model for not every MLS team, because every market is different, but at least for the big market teams, the 2 New York teams, the 2 LA teams, possibly, FC Dallas, who's in a big market, Chicago. These types of teams need to follow this model where, obviously you're not going to bring in South American players if you're playing on the West Coast, but you might bring in some Mexican players or some players from other leagues. that's gonna call to your fan base. And right now LAFC is went the French route, and they seem to be wanting to sign all the French national team members, which is fine because it brings in names, it brings in it brings in folks to watch the game that might not watch the game normally. But look, that's got to be the script for most of these teams if they want to start making money and putting together really competitive rosters to then start winning CONCACAF champions, or at least competing in those tournaments. And you've got the World Club, or the Club World Cup next year. MLS hasn't said who's going to represent them as the host, as a host team. So I'm sure whoever wins the MLS Cup this year is going to have a big say in that.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they're designating that or how many spots they get. I heard a rumor that whoever wins this tournament is a team that's going to be in the Club World Cup. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed. But we'll see. We got a couple people in the chat. Bogush to Celtic. I haven't seen it confirmed yet. I mean, maybe someone just posted on Twitter. I haven't checked Twitter here in a little bit since the stream, so I'm not sure if that's going through, if that's official yet. MLS said, "Yo, how are you guys? We're doing good, man. We're excited about this game. Not because it's Leagues Cup, but because it's two great MLS teams playing against each other, two heavyweights, two of the best there is. It's still 0-0. Looks like it's a little bit closer. I thought that there probably would have been someone that scored by now, just because when these two teams play, things normally are very open up pretty quickly. But these have been two very organized teams playing very, very clean games so far, right? No huge blunders. Not really many chances either, honestly.
No, it's what you'd expect out of a final, right? Probably both teams are going in waiting for the other team to make some sort of defensive mistake and try to capitalize in on it. So you see both teams trying to hold on to the ball, play their own style of possession, and try to find the holes in each other's defenses. But both defenses are playing solidly right now, and we've had a really good game these first 20 minutes.
Yes, for sure. I mean, these are. I'm on the fence about it. I want to say Miami is the best team in the league right now, but I will say that these are the two hottest teams right now. These are the two teams that have been playing the best football the last month, I would say, are these two teams. Now, Inter Miami obviously has been good too. I'd probably put them at number 3, but we just don't know what they're doing with the injuries and integrating all their players back, and the defense is still a liability. So I don't know. I still have a lot of question marks about them, but these, what I would say, are the two best teams in the league right now, or the two hottest teams in the league right now. This is like the ideal matchup that you would want if you want to see two teams play. Now, last year it was Inter Miami and Nashville SC. Nashville was a very mediocre team with a very good player in Hani Mukhtar. Inter Miami was a wounded duck, right? They added all these pieces, but they were a horrible MLS regular season team. Before they had made all the additions. So it was a nice final because it was Messi, right? It was a nice final because it was Inter Miami, the Barca boys, playing for an MLS team. But this is like two good teams with not as much star power or big names. Olivier Giroud and Lloris are obviously known, but they're not Messi, Busquets, and Alba. They're not the Barca boys. So this is a little different. This feels to me like, oh, what a pass. Oh, Christian Ramirez close. I feel like this is a bigger game than last year, honestly, like quality wise from both teams.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. I mean, remember last year, Inter Miami, they had just brought in Tata, I think 2 weeks before the Leagues Cup. They had just signed Messi a couple days before Leagues Cup, brought in the Barca guys. They were still starting to get used to playing with each other, and they also didn't have a great defense last year. Remember, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they were starting Kickoff, which is brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think overall in terms of quality of play, this is a much better matchup. Now, if I'm Don Garber, the matchup that I want in the MLS Cup in terms of money and TV views and all that is going to be Inter Miami versus LAFC. I mean, I think that's the MLS Cup that MLS would want the most. But honestly, I think in the Eastern Conference, it's going to be between Inter Miami, Columbus, and Cincinnati. Even though Columbus is really close to these last few minutes, but even though Cincinnati hasn't been doing that great, I mean, they showed that they can get hot, and if Lucho Acosta can get hot, they've shown that they can be very competitive. So I think those are the three teams that that could possibly come out of the East. I don't really see anybody else competing with those three teams. The West is a little bit more of I guess, a little bit tougher because you have
Really?
LAFC, you have the Galaxy. Yeah, I think the Western Conference is gonna be a little bit tougher to get out of this year.
I think the East is the best conference in the league. Cincinnati, but I do think there's teams starting to separate themselves. I think Cincinnati is obviously, they're a good team, but I think that as you saw this summer, they were trying to add a piece that they think they're missing to really put them over the top to compete with Miami, to compete with Columbus, and they weren't able to do that. So I think they're good. I just think that they're still a piece or two away from being up there with these other teams.
Yeah, I think the piece they were trying to sign was the forward from Monterrey, right? Herman Berterame. I think that's the name that was that was rumored to be going there. I mean, I was just kind of referring to in terms of the teams that are going to be coming out of the East and West. Like you said, the East is clearly we have favorites in there. The West is a lot more jumbled up. I mean, there's only 11 points that separate second through sixth. 10 points that separate second and seventh place. So with 8 games left, with 24 points left in play, there's still a lot going on. Things can shift, and I don't see a clear favorite in the West. Like I mean, yes, it could be LAFC, but I could also see Real Salt Lake with the way the playoffs are. If they meet LAFC, I could see them having a hard time, or LAFC in Portland, playing in Portland. Now it's a 3-game series. I don't know, man.
So crazy.
The playoffs this year is so screwed up. I don't understand what MLS is doing there.
No, I know. I like the single elimination game because Darlington Abbey close, a little far left, a little wide.
What a great volley, man. He caught that right at the right time.
Yeah, very underrated player in MLS, I would say, historically, right? I think that a little too far left, a little far wide. I think that that the West is interesting because the Galaxy are a team who look really good sometimes, and other times they don't look very good. Marco Royce had a great debut. Oh, Matty Bogusz cooking right now. Good pass to Denny Buwanga. What were you
saw
saying?
That layoff? You saw that layoff by Giroud with his chest. I mean, that's world class. I mean, he left it for Matty right there.
Things are opening up now. It looks like both teams are real. I mean, they're going for it now. Things are opening up. Possession changing quickly. The buildup is getting a lot better. I think a goal's right around the corner now. I think things are really about to open up. And once that first goal scored, I think there's going to be a lot more to come afterwards. But LA Galaxy, Marco Royce had a good debut. He had a goal and assist. A lot of people were wondering if he was, not past his prime. Obviously he is, but if he had much left to give. Last night, he looked really, I mean, it looked easy for him, Danny. It looked easy. Like the goal he scored, the passes, the assist. He could be a difference maker for that team, which is scary because their front three is already really good in Joveljic, Paintsel, and Gabriel Peck. So it will be interesting. RSL is a team you can't count out. I would say RSL is kind of like the Columbus Crew of the West. They're building it different. They're signing these players maybe you haven't even heard of, but they're highly talented players. Pablo Mastroeni looks like he's been a pretty good coach so far for RSL. So they're a team that you really have to keep an eye on. And then obviously LAFC, there's a lot of good teams, honestly. I think that there are probably 7 to 8 legit MLS Cup contending teams this year, which is what you want. I don't care about having 29 MLS Cup contending teams. Like, I know it's MLS's goal is to try to get as many as they can. I'm cool with like 6 to 8, man. That's perfectly fine with me. It still makes it interesting.
Absolutely. I'm looking at this playoff format here, and they have like it looks like here they have a wild card game, which is just one game, a lose and go home. Then the first round is a best of 3 series, and then it goes back to, for the semifinals and the finals, it goes back to a win and go home. Why would they put a 3 rounds, like a 3-game series in the middle of all that? I would prefer a home and home, or just win and go home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
3 games, it just doesn't belong in soccer like that. Best of 3, that just go to the 2 legs if you have to, right? The 2 leg is common. and that gives each team a chance at a game at home. And they said they didn't want to do that though because Apple was apparently pressuring them to get as much inventory as possible with these games, but that just takes away from the tradition, and I don't like that at all. I was hoping they would change that because it's a disaster. I don't know anybody who likes that format.
Yeah, no, I just, to me, it's a money grab, that third game. It's just unnecessary. It's an extra game that, teams would have to play. You're adding an extra 90 minutes, to the players' legs already on a really heavy schedule. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, the home and home, the two leg is the right way to go. And then if they tie, you go to overtime and penalties if you want to, or just penalties, whatever. But adding another 90-minute game, to the schedule, to me, after, they're already, not playing U.S. Open Cup because of the schedule congestion, but you're going to add an extra playoff game. I don't know. I mean, sometimes some of these rules don't make sense.
They don't. That's the thing with MLS. What makes sense is that things don't make sense. That's the only thing that makes sense is that that. I got this Roadcaster and it's got a soundboard on it. I want to add. You can add customized sounds on it. I want to get like some crazy South American commentator for when they score a goal where it says "Golazo, golazo," something like that. So that way, whenever we get a goal, I can just play that and it go crazy. They got a couple like applause and like crickets and stuff, but I want to add some flavor to it.
Yeah, I can get you some of those. That's not a problem. I can find you a couple of those goal calls. No issues.
Oh, dude, that'd be sick, man. That'd be nice to have. Just to keep things a little interesting, or at least something fun when the goal is scored.
If not, I'll do the goal, man. I'll just yell it from here.
There you go. Yeah, me too. I mean, normally I am pretty animated when something crazy happens. Man, I tell you what, I am a little surprised. That they, like I said, that it hasn't been a goal yet. Who has anybody stood out to you so far in this game?
Oh, really, Darlington Nagbe, man. He just seems like he's the motor in that midfield. Has put a couple shots just off the net. And he just seems to be the standout player so far right now in the game.
I got Cucho. Cucho, it feels like he's touching the ball like it feels like he's touched the ball more than anybody. I mean, look, he's got the ball again right now. He's made some key passes. He's had a couple shot attempts. I think he's just a hard worker. I think Cucho, but Darlington Nagbe is his close second. Ooh, that looked like it might have been a foul. I think that Darlington Nagbe, I'm a little disappointed in Bouanga so far. I haven't noticed him as much. Looks like Matty Bogusz is starting to heat up a little bit. Like I said earlier, though, I think Giroud is the guy that's going to have to stick out, and he's going to have to impact this game, I think, for LAFC to win. Yeah.
Can I tell you, I think Bouanga is playing on the wrong side. I think he needs to play inverted. He's got to play on the left side so he can cut in and shoot. I think when they play him on the right side there, he kind of gets a little lost, and they're playing a little more to Matty Bogusz. And yeah, he's been lost his first 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't like him on the right wing either. I like him better on the left side. But they do that weird thing where they do kind of rotate their wingers and their striker to where they kind of all rotate out and swap spots. But I just don't think I don't think he's as lethal on the right side as his. Like I'm like you. I like my wingers to be inverted. I don't like them playing their preferred foot, side of the field. I like them inverted. I just feel like that's better when they cut and they can obviously have a better chance at goal. And I don't know. I don't really like that. That's my issue with the Galaxies. They were trying to play Gabriel Peck, who's left-footed on the left wing. I just don't. I think that kind of boxes you in. I don't like that at all, honestly. So maybe they'll make an adjustment. Maybe they'll put him on the left side. What's going on here? They saying it's LAFC's ball?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. It's LAFC's ball.
Yeah, I think that they need to put him on the left side, maybe play Matty on the right side. I mean, that's normally what happens. So this is kind of Matty's a left-footed player, but he's honestly he can play with both feet. But
the only thing that makes me question why maybe Cherundolo started with them, playing on their natural side, is since Giroud is playing that 9, maybe they're looking for crosses inside to look for his head. That's the only thing I could think of. But
that's
other
true.
than that, I would much rather prefer to have him inverted so that Giroud can lay off and then they can cut back inside and take a shot on target. That's the way I prefer to play One player who we haven't talked yet about, who I think has had an outstanding season since he came back for LAFC is Eduardo Atuesta. He went and played in the Brazilian league. And I think it kind of gave him a little bit more of that South American flair, or maybe, I don't know, maybe that South American aggressiveness, in the pitch. And I've seen him having a really, really good year as LAFC's center midfielder. Better than when he had his first stretch with them.
Before I get into that, I want to say thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We got 42 people in here. We've had 1,400 people come through our stream so far, which is really, really good. So make sure you like the stream. Share with a friend. So we're trying to grow the audience as large as we can. Me and Danny are having a good time. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos or these live streams we do. We always are having fun. I really enjoy doing this with you guys. But Atuesta is, man, I'm on the fence about him. I think he's kind of struggled a little bit. I actually think he's came back a worse player than he left. And that's what a lot of LAFC fans kind of feel too, that he's not really lived up to what he used to be. Like Palmeiras, when he went there, really did a number on him because he didn't play much. And I think he got injured. And I think it really affected his confidence. And he just hasn't really, he's not bad, but he's not been the same of what he once was. And I think he's like 27 years old. So he's pretty much done growing as a player. Like he's not going to just blossom into some, the best player in MLS. But they really need him to at least be nice head flick by Giroud. But I think he's not been as good as what he once was for LAFC.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair enough comment. In terms of, defensively and just being more aggressive, that's where I see him a little bit better. Maybe technically he lost some of that, since he didn't get to play as much in Palmeiras. But the Brazilian league is a really interesting league, and it's a really tough league to play in. So I think if any player gets a chance to play in that league, it usually benefits them. Maybe we have a difference of opinion on there, but in terms of what it did to Atuesta, but hey, it's that's what makes this fun. We don't always have to agree.
No, agree. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, he hasn't been bad for them. Like I said, he just hasn't. I don't think he's been as good as what
he was before he left.
Yeah, and he was a very highly touted player when he left for Palmeiras like 2 or 3 years ago. When he went to Brazil. But, I don't know. It would be interesting to see. He's on loan right now, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they've bought him. So I could be wrong about that. But I think he's technically on loan from Palmeiras. So it'll be interesting to see if they purchase him or if they just let him go back and, see what happens. Ooh, what a pass to Cucho Hernandez. Oh, I think Cucho has been killing it, man. It's funny. I actually asked some, the fans are on Twitter. I asked them, I said, who do you think is the most valuable player in Major League Soccer right now? And a common name I always hear is Cucho Hernandez. Now, I think it's close. I would have Gabriel Peck just because of the youth. I think obviously quality is one thing, but age is another. And they like to obviously see that you have some years to grow. But man, Cucho Hernandez, he's a lot of people think he's the most valuable player in MLS.
He could be, man, but we both know that if, unfortunately, if your last name has an Inho in it, INHO, usually you're worth about 20, 30 million more than if it doesn't. And if you're from Argentina, then you're worth about another 20 to 30 million more. And then if you're from England, you're worth about like 100 million more. So that's unfortunately, that's just the way that the market goes. And we've seen that with a lot of the young players that are being signed from South America. Like you have Claudio Echeverri, the young 16, 17-year-old that was playing in River Plate that he signed. I think it was like a $30 million contract with Man City. And you have other players as well, like Endrick. Real Madrid is paying tons of money for him. And the Uruguayan U20 team who won the World Cup, none of those guys have gone for more than like 8 million. So I mean, there's obviously a favoritism or something amongst Argentinian and Brazilian players. It's understandable because historically, at least within the last 20 years, their national teams have been, usually within the top 5 in the world. So it's understandable why there's maybe that bias towards those players. But that's why, this is where I'm going with it. That's why I'm going to lean towards Gabriel Peck, because he's from Brazil. So I think while Gucho might be the better player right now and probably has just as high a ceiling, I think if you were to put them both on the market, I think Gabriel Peck would sell higher.
Yeah, and I'm curious because Almiron sold for close to $30 million, and he's a Paraguayan, so that was kind of like unprecedented. Normally, that's a guy that you would try to the buying team would try to undervalue because he's a Paraguayan. They're like, hey, listen, I'm not paying $30 million for a Paraguayan. No one's paying that, but he sold for $30 million. He's a very good player, and I think that Peck is every bit as talented, if not more talented than him. And that was 5 years ago that he was sold. He's good with both feet. He's got unreal pace. He's a playmaker. He's only 23 years old. People say I'm crazy, man, but I'm telling you, the way he's been playing, if he keeps it up, I think he could be sold for $30 to $35 million easily.
I'm not sure just because of his age. So the fact that he's 23 probably devalues him a little bit. I would say if he was a little younger, maybe 19, 20, 21, obviously the value might be a little higher, but he still has his best years ahead of him. So if he can do something, for the LA Galaxy this year, like he has been doing, and maybe continue his progress, it could be in the transfer window next summer where he could have an opportunity to go. And in terms of him growing, and if he wants to, get to the national team and get to that level, I think it's going to be very important for him to make that jump within the next year or two, because once you get to 24, 25, if you're not already, starting or playing for the Brazilian national team, they've got so many players over there that you're probably never going to get a chance.
Yeah, I think that so Almiron was 25 when he was sold to Newcastle for $30 million. So Peck's technically 2 years younger than him.
Yeah, just around that age.
So, and also too, the key thing also, Danny, that I think that separates you, if you look at Almada, right? Almada is a good player. He's nothing world class. He's good. He doesn't have any physical traits that make you think this is a guy who can just, that's going to be a game wrecker in this league. He's not super fast. He's not big. He's not really physical either. Now, Peck, on the other hand, I think is all three of those things. He's not big, but he's physical and he's fast. You can't teach speed. And I think that is what Almiron had, which made him a desirable player, was he was so damn fast. And I think when you have a trait like that translates to any league, can make you desirable. Almada, nobody's paying $30 million for Almada because he wasn't any of those things. What are they paying for? He's a good player, but what difference is he going to make? Peck is a guy who's going to beat guys down the flank. It's going to be tough to beat him or cover him or mark him. So I think that they're paying for the traits, and I think that's what's going to separate him. And I think he will end up being he's going to end up being the highest transfer fee in MLS history. Now, Diego Gomez, he is a game wrecker as far as like he does the dirty work, right? He's not scoring a lot of goals. He's not the fastest guy. He's not
a flashy player.
He's not a flashy player. Exactly. But that there's still a market for those guys. And I think it's around the $15 to $18 million range is what he went to. So I think that they literally maximized what he could be sold for. And there's no shame in that. That's why I said that I thought Gomez could be sold for more than what Almada is, or what he was sold for, because he does what he does better than what Almada does, in my opinion, at least. I think that Diego Gomez is a better 8 than Almada was a 10. That's just what I thought. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just based on what I've watched. That's the sense I've got. And I think that Gomez's style of play, that's another thing. He is big, right? He does have the physical traits. He's like 6'1". He's stocky. He's not afraid of anything. He's always right there in the pile, always making slide tackles, marking guys, getting physical with them. And Almada's like 5'8". I think Diego Gomez's physicality and size can translate into any league in the world, especially the Premier League. I think he's really built for that league with the way he plays and his size.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. I think, maybe the biggest argument for Almada not living up to the hype could have been, the team that he was on. He never really got, I guess, surrounded with maybe the right players that he needed to play with. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable. There could be a lot of variables, but without a doubt, I mean, he definitely did not live up to the hype that he came to the league with. Barring a few great goals that he scored and some assists, and some highlight reels that he did. Yeah, he didn't live up to the hype. Now, somebody like a Gabriel Peck, who comes in year one, he's already got 10 goals, 9 assists. He's already making a name for himself. So absolutely, I mean, there's no doubt that I don't think that he could be a better signing. And man, LAFC is going up the wing here. It looks like they finally changed Bogus and Buanga. Oof, Buanga completely whiffed on that. But yeah, I mean, going back to the selling and the players that are sold and all that. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think Gabriel Peck could definitely go for more. Could he be more than 30 million?
Ooh.
More than Almiron? I don't know. I don't know.
Bad giveaway there.
Yeah, I saw. But
yeah, it'd be. Listen, this is MLS is this league right now where they have a lot of these guys that are in that 8 to 10 million range to be sold for. That's what their bread and butter is right now. That's what they are. It's not bad. I mean, it's part of the growth, right? We just need more of those guys. Diego Gomez being bought for $3 million. Last year, Leagues Cup, I never thought he was going to be what he ended up being. I didn't think he was going to. I think a lot of us thought that we were just a little disappointed, but you had to give him a little bit of leeway because he was only 20 years old. So he still had some time to grow, right? He proved a lot of people wrong. He's had a really good 2024 has been a very good soccer year for him in totality with Paraguay, with Inter Miami, across the board. It's been very good. And we need more guys like that. Now, the question is, this is where the smart business comes, right? Is Inter Miami going to be able to sign another guy for $3 million who's going to be equally as good and flip that player? Probably not. That's asking a lot, isn't it?
No, I don't think so, because there's a piece to the puzzle that you missed, Will. So remember, when Inter Miami bought him for $3 million, they also added a 50% sell-on clause, Libertad did, to the deal. So Inter Miami technically bought him for $3 million, but they're not getting paid 18; they're getting paid 9.
I didn't know there's a 50%. I thought that was for. I thought that was for Toto.
No. It was also for Libertad. So those are the types of deals that some of these MLS teams need to start making, where you might, you might find a gem somewhere, a diamond in the rough, but you don't have to invest the 8, 10, 12, 15 million.
Oh, Cucho. Was that Cucho Hernandez? Cucho Hernandez with the goal. Hey,
oof, what a goal. What a goal. And what a pass by Farsi, huh? What a pass by Farsi. What a great goal.
Cucho Hernandez opens it up. Yo, let's go. First goal of the game, Cucho Hernandez. What did I say? He has been the best player on the pitch through 45 minutes. Cucho Hernandez has been the best player. He'd been threatening. Wilfred Nazi smiling ear to ear right now. Cucho Hernandez has been the best player on the field so far. He's making plays. He's everywhere. Every time I see the Columbus Crew with possession, I see him around the ball. Cucho Hernandez puts the Columbus Crew ahead 1-0. And like you said, Farsi with a great pass and a finish by Cucho Hernandez. What a goal. Columbus Crew takes the lead.
Man, what a great play, man. Farsi gets off of Atuesta, sends it out wide, receives the ball back, puts it into the box, and man, Cucho just beats Ili to the ball. Ili even gets a little touch on the head. But oof. I mean, that's a natural goal scoring instinct right there. I mean, that's a 9. That is a 9. Somebody who goes after the ball gets the goal. And what a time to score, right? In the 44th minute. I mean, going to the break up 1-0 is a little different than going to the break 0-0. So we're gonna have to see what Cherundolo is gonna do in this second half.
I think the second half is going to be a lot more exciting with scoring opportunities. It looks like they had a jackhammer.
Yep.
I guess they're doing something kind of like what Portland does with the tree when they cut off a piece every time they score, but they jackhammer a block off when they score. I hadn't seen that before, honestly.
Me neither. I don't understand that, to be honest. Some of those things, like in MLS, I just don't get them.
It's a tradition, man. They're building their own, right? Listen, this is interesting. There's going to have to be Steve Cherundolo obviously down 1-0. I mean, this is, like I said before the game, this is his kryptonite. Columbus Crew are Steve Cherundolo's kryptonite. And I'm gonna wait. I have a topic I want to talk about in the second half. What's not doom yet. It's the game is still within reach for LAFC. But if they start to pull ahead, there is a question that I will have about LAFC and Steve Cherundolo. This would well, I'll save it. We'll wait. We'll wait. No need to doom and get the LAFC fans upset or cause for concern yet. Still very early in this game. But man, Cucho Hernandez. And you know what's crazy is he was a winger at Watford. And his last season before he came to MLS, he actually played, I want to say 27 to 28 games for Watford. Started, I think he scored 3 goals. He went on the year before he went on loan to a La Liga team and played for them. But comes to MLS, was playing winger in the Premier League, plays a 9. Great scouting by Tim Bespachenko. And look what happens, man. Plays as a 9, and he's damn good. What I heard from him when he came here was that he was almost like Sebastian Jovinko-esque with his slipperiness and how well he played. Now, Jovinko is like one of the best players I've ever seen in MLS, and his free kick ability was it. Sebastian Jovinko is the best free kick taker of all time in MLS history, and I will debate that with anybody.
Oof, I don't know, man. You got Leo Messi in the league now.
Hey, man, listen, we're talking about in MLS, though. We're talking about what they've done. I'm telling you right now, you go watch Jovinko, you go watch some of those free kicks, man. I'm telling you right now, he's the best free kick taker in MLS history. But I will say Cucho Hernandez might not be that, but the scoring prowess, the dribbling, everything, just the playmaking ability, very close. Very, very close. Let's see. Rocky says it's the stepchild of Timber Joey for the Timbers. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Jack, is it Jackhammer Jimmy? Is that what we're calling him?
I guess so, man.
Jimmy.
It's either Jackhammer Jimmy or Jackhammer Johnny. One of those two.
One of the two. Hey, which one is it, guys? Which one is it? Do you prefer Jackhammer Jimmy or Jackhammer Johnny? That's funny. Manuel, who is a member of the channel, appreciate the support. I'm at the stadium, and this is a great game so far. Hell yeah, man! I'm glad you got to make it. That's awesome. Hopefully, it looks great. Me and Danny were saying that the crowd looked incredible. He said, "Let's go, crew." Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. Love to see it. That we got a guy who's at the game tuning into us, man. That is amazing.
I know. I had to respond to him and tell him thank you because I mean he's at the game. And he's watching us. I mean, Manny, you're the man, bro. Thank you so much. Tell your guys next to us to watch us too. You know, the guys that are in the seats next to you on the right and the left, tell them to watch us too. Tell them to follow us.
Yeah. We've been consistently at around 40 to 50 viewers all game long, which is great. I'm glad people like to watch the game with us, man. I think we always have good conversations. And listen, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. We've read the chat. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them. If you've got any comments on the game, let us know how you think the game's going. Obviously, make sure you like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. We're like 6 subscribers away from, I think it's around 4140. So make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our streams. Manny says he's in section 234, row 2, seat 5. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
I'll keep a lookout. Don't know where that is, but I'm going to check out a map now.
We need to have like some type of a code for him, right? His phone or some type of hand wave to know that it's him.
So we can see that it's him. Absolutely. Will, I remember it could have been, man, what, like 3, 4, 5 months ago, you were at like 3,500 subscribers. I mean, the work you've been putting in these last few months, absolutely commendable. I clap my hands to you.
I appreciate it.
You're out here almost daily, man. I mean, I'm almost out here daily as well, you know, with other shows I'm doing and stuff like that, doing stuff with you. But I mean, you're out of control with the 11 o'clock emergency live streams and covering everything with the U.S. men's national team. And Poch isn't signed yet, but everybody thinks he's, it's going to happen. So, I mean, I tip my cap to you and you've done a fantastic job, at least over the, definitely over the last 3-4 months with all the coverage that you've been offering us. So I appreciate it. I watch your videos. I hope other folks watch them too. So
hey, listen, man, I appreciate it. You're my live stream partner and a friend off, obviously, the stream. I'm just trying to, have criticisms of the league, but I'm just trying to be a place where people can go for MLS content, good or bad. You guys can come to me. And I think that's one thing we're lacking is general overall league content, right? We have obviously the people, the hard workers, the Inter Miami people like yourself, LAFC, but we don't have a league-wide channel. Like there's very few of them. And I'm trying to be that so people can come here and watch MLS content and USMNT content too, because I love the USMNT. So I'm trying to do both, and hopefully the growth continues. I mean, 2026 is a big year, and I can't wait to see where we are by then, man. This thing is bigger than I ever thought it could be. I mean, 4,000 subscribers in the first year is crazy. That's crazy. Some people don't ever hit that in their whole YouTube career.
Yeah, I know it just goes to show you, that all the hard work you put in is paying off, and folks enjoy the content. Like I said, there's been even from the beginning of your channel, it's you had just you're graduating little by little. You started with smaller videos. Now we're doing live streams. Now you're doing your own live streams. I mean, little by little, MLS Moves is growing. MLS Moves is getting its name out there. And dude, folks are tuning in from all over the country, even from outside the country. Like we had some folks from England. And that's
Yeah.
freaking awesome. That's awesome, man.
Hey, and also too, guys, listen, I got some shirts. I don't know if you guys can see this. Now, this is the big logo shirt. I like these, but we also have like the small logo shirts on the left side. I have a link in the description. You can buy these at. It's called Fourth Wall. Pretty reasonably priced. I don't even make any profit off these shirts. It's literally just covering the cost. Make sure you check those out, man. Buy a shirt, support the channel, represent MLS Moves. Let's grow this thing. There's some good looking shirts. I got some hoodies. I actually just ordered myself like 4 shirts and a hoodie the other night. And I think they look really good. I actually like the white hoodie with the MLS Moves logo. I think it looks really good together. So just make sure you guys check that out. Support the channel if you can. And hopefully you guys like the merchandise.
I might have to get one for the next live stream. If not, I mean, I'm wearing the Battered Herons one because they gifted me one for being on the show. So I'm gonna have to go on to MLS Moves and buy some and buy a shirt.
You're part of the team, man. You're the live stream team, right? You got to get the MLS Moves shirt at least when we're doing these streams. Which I'm excited, man. This is great. This has been a good game so far. I would listen. Let's get the chat involved, right? How do you guys? There's 43 of you right now. How do you feel about the first half? What would you rate it? How do you feel? I'm sure we got some crew and LAFC fans. How would you summarize the first half? Who was the best player in the first half?
Well, it clearly was not Atuesta. I'll tell you that. I was completely wrong. We've got Michael Pelly and also Horacio Rodriguez in the chat, talking about how Atuesta needs to be taken out. He's too frustrated. He's going to get another yellow. Look, it could be, man. It could be. That was my opinion at least. And then they scored, and it could have changed. So I gotta go with Will. Will was right on that one.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. There are a lot of LAFC fans. That name is infamous. They don't like Atuesta for some reason. I mean, well, it's because of his quality of play, but I'm telling you, just based on what I've heard, I've watched a couple games. I didn't think he was terrible, but I didn't think he was great. But man, you would think that this man was, I mean, you would think he's the worst player to ever step on the pitch with how some of the fans feel about him. So I think they're going to obviously have to take him off. Maybe put Lewis O'Brien on. That's the guy that they just signed on loan from, I want to say it was either Middlesbrough or
Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest. Yeah, Lewis O'Brien. I've said this before. He was the best player for DC United when he played for me. He only had 1 goal, but just watching him play, he was very good quality. They just couldn't make the transfer fee work. Let's look and see what he's worth. So he came on loan last January 2023. He was bought in the summer of, let's see, I'm just trying to make sure I get this right. So he was bought for $8 million from Nottingham Forest. They paid $8 million for him. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they paid 9.4 million for him. Excuse me. They paid 9.4 million euros from Huddersfield. Nottingham Forest did. So he was almost a $10 million transfer. He played 6 months, didn't really work out too well. DC United get him on loan. They were wanting to buy him. He was just too expensive. They wanted like 6 or 7 million, and DC United don't pay that much for a player. So they said, "Hey, thanks, but no thanks. We're moving on." And he goes back to England. He has an up and down, I guess, season. LAFC are able to get a DP quality player that would be on that he would be a DP on any other MLS team, able to get him on loan as a TAM deal. That is some serious A-list team pull, right? That's some crazy pull.
Well, that's what you have to do if you want to win the cup. I mean, you need to get either these small transfer fee deals or these loan deals like Inter Miami has been doing. I mean, half their team is on a loan. And if you looked at their roster, I think 3/4 of their roster, their contract is up or their loan is up at the end of the year. So that's how you have to be, in terms of like getting resourceful and looking at the ins and outs of the MLS salary cap. That's how the best teams operate. They do these kind of great deals like this Lewis O'Brien deal, like, all the other loan deals that some of the teams have done. And that's how you get quality players on your team. Other teams have to follow that.
So Lewis O'Brien is technically the second. This is according to Transfer Market, of course. Lewis O'Brien is technically the second most valuable player on LAFC at this point. Denny Bwanga is number one. Now, this is you got to take this with a grain of salt, right? Because Olivier Giroud is obviously a very good player still. He's 37 years old, so his transfer market value is not. No one's paying a lot of money for him because his days are numbered, right? He's not going to be playing for years to come. So you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt with that aspect of it. I mean, he's better than €3 million valuation. His age is obviously playing a factor, and so this team is pretty good. Matty Bogusz valued at €4 million. There's no way in hell he's being sold for that. There's no way in hell. I wouldn't sell him for less than 10 million. Honestly, I wouldn't. Now let's look at Columbus because I want to see I want to compare these two teams, right? These are the two teams in MLS that are, a lot of people think these are the two best teams in the league. So Cucho Hernandez is their most valuable player, 13 million euros. Let's see what they paid for him, Danny. Like it was like 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago. So they paid 9.5 million euros for him 2 years ago. So they've got a good return, right? That's been a good signing for them. Obviously, he's been a good signing on the pitch, right? But I mean, you can see that they got their money's worth.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt they got their money's worth.
No doubt.
I mean, going down the list, the next, valued player is Diego Rossi. Valued at 7 million. And again,
what did they pay for him last year? 6 million euros for him. That was a good deal. That was a really good deal.
Absolutely. Now, the DeJuan Jones deal, he's a little bit older. He's 27. It looks like he's valued at 4.5 million. Do you know what I think they traded a player and some GAM or something for him, but
yeah, 550K. That's really not that much, honestly. That's not too bad.
That's a great deal. But it goes back to show you, look at these teams. Look at the deals that LAFC done. Look at the deals that Columbus has done. That's why they are where they are, because they do these types of deals. Columbus has a great roster when you start looking at all their values and stuff. I mean, they got a bunch of players over $1 million.
Yeah, they do. They built their team very well. Like this is the way to do it. And I was looking at this before. We had all the teams in the league pulled up. Let's see. I want to say Miami's still number one. Yeah, Miami's still number one at 96. Or we'll round it up to 97 million euros. But it's a little inflated because Messi's like worth 30 million. So that number is a little higher than the other teams because they got a 30 million euro player. Messi's technically the most valuable player in MLS. And let's be honest, if Messi was up for sale and he was playing, obviously it's a little different now because he's been hurt and stuff. But if he was playing like he was at the beginning of the season, we know damn well Messi wouldn't sell. He would sell for more than 30 million euros still. Just the jersey sales alone, people would be willing to at least probably pay 60, 70, 80 million euros for him as a player. But it's crazy. The most valuable player of all time has never been sold. He's always moved on a free transfer, which is crazy to think about, right? Someone like that of that value. But damn, I mean, look at this, Danny. They got Redondo, 8 million euros, Gomez, 8 million euros, Toto Aviles, 6 million. I mean, this team has got several players worth $1 million plus. Hell, they've got several players worth 4 million plus.
They do. But that's the way. I mean, we've been talking about it in this entire stream. I mean, you have to find, because of the salary cap rules in the MLS, you have to have a very, a very smart front office. Somebody who really knows the cap, somebody who really knows, the ins and outs and how to, I don't want not cheat the rules, but follow the rules in I guess in an easier way, right? You want to be able to get as much as you can out of the little that they give you. And that's what you're seeing from the teams that are in first place. I mean, if we started to look at all the rosters, LA Galaxy, LAFC, of the top teams, RSL, Miami, Columbus, and Cincinnati, you're going to see that they've got all these types of really, really good players.
100%. And let's see, got a couple comments. We have the Purple Alien. He says, hi. Bluebird says LAFC is crumbling. Hey, listen, let's not doom completely yet. I mean, there's still a full half. They could still come back. Let's relax here, right? Things can happen. Teams have came back from further deficits than that. Okay. Horacio Rodriguez says, I think we are going to see LAFC wake up in the second half. So you think the sleeping giant's going to wake up? O'Brien is taking his practice or his not practice kit, but his warm up shirt off. Looks like he is going to come in the second half, which they desperately need him to contribute. He's a very good player, like I mentioned earlier. Football fan says transfer market values mean absolutely nothing. Well, hey, listen, man. I mean, where else are we supposed to get some type of rough idea on what's going on? What a player's worth. I mean, it gives us some type of, at least something to go off of, right?
I mean, it's not the end all be all, but it's a starting point, right? It's a place where we can go and get a number and debate on it, right? I mean, it's not the end all be all. It's nobody's saying that that's the right amount, but we got, like you said, we got to go somewhere. You can't just make up a number, Will, and then just start debate about it.
100%, 100%. Hey, I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. If you don't mind, read some comments. I'll be right back in like 60 seconds.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I got it, man. So we got Rocky over here. Rocky saying, bend the rules as much as you can before they break. Well, we know Inter Miami, broke the rules a little bit in their first season. But since then, it seems like they've been roster compliant. And he says Inter is writing the book. I don't know, what deal the team has with the league or whatever. I know that there's a lot of folks that, who talk about that, how the league favors Inter Miami and all that. I'm not of that. I don't think that way. I don't think they're handing it to them. Obviously, yesterday they were down a man for almost the entire game, with Toto Aviles getting a red card in the 30 something or 40 something minutes. So I don't think that's it. Horacio here says O'Brien just went in. Yep, we were just talking about it, and we think that that's a really good sub. It's going to help LAFC out in the second half. And there goes Denny Bouanga. Nice little move that he tried to make there. But also, football fan here says it's subjective, but in reality, it's not a good gauge. I know, man. Absolutely. I'm with you. I get it. But, we got to start with some number somewhere. So I was just reading some comments, reading football fans comment there. He's talking about the transfer market numbers. I see Mo from STL over there, Mo Football TV, is saying, yo, fellas, what's going on, Mo?
Good friend of the show. Hey, Mo, listen, man, if you want to hop in here, just let me know. I'll send you a link if you want to come in here for a bit. I know you got some French allegiance to some of these LAFC guys. So if you want to shoot me a text, if you want me to send you an invite,
come on in and let me go. Let me check out for 10 minutes so I can put my son to sleep and then I can come back, Mo.
I'll send him an invite. I'll send Mo an invite right now. Actually, hey, Mo, listen, I'm going to send it to you on, I'm going to send it to you on DMs on Twitter.
But a nice little start to this first half. We had Bouanga get into the box, and then he got the ball taken away from him. Now look, you got Cucho playing left wing, so there goes Nancy moving his players, and even Diego Rossi is almost playing behind the forward, so he's got him moving all over the place. I mean, he definitely is one of the better coaches in the MLS. There's absolutely zero doubt about Wilfred Nancy and his coaching abilities.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he is the best coach, and I don't mind to tell you this, but I am trying like hell to get an interview with him. Hopefully, I can get that to happen. I'm trying really hard to set something up with Wilfred Nancy, because he's a genius, man. Especially like something we haven't seen in MLS. I want to pick his brain and see what he thinks about the league. Ask him how he makes these adjustments, and see how he is able to do what he does.
Absolutely. I don't want to cut into your Steve Cherundolo or LAFC topic, but I was curious. I'm going to ask you a question. You can tell me yes or no, but were you going to say something like Steve Cherundolo has a tough job winning big games?
Yes, I was gonna say that. And here's
I knew you were going there.
yeah, but here's the thing. I don't want to hit the panic button yet because watch LAFC score 2 goals and then the subject matter is irrelevant. But you got to start having a conversation if he does. Ooh, Cucho, that looked like an awkward landing on his left leg.
Yes.
That bend.
Oof.
But Murillo's the one that's actually hurt. I want to save that kind of, but you got to start having the tough questions. If a guy who goes to 4 championship games and he loses, is he the guy? I mean, he's done a good job, but I mean, LAFC is arguably the best ran organization in the league. So it's not like he's making the most out of nothing here. Like I mean, he's got a pretty nice ride. He's not driving a beater and having to win the race with it. He's got a nice whip, and look like Chanel with maybe with a late tackle. Yeah,
that definitely looked like a late tackle and should be a yellow card. Absolutely.
He says we're a few minutes behind.
Hey, the referee is doing a fantastic game. This job, I have to say, I've been more impressed with the officiating during Leagues Cup than I have been during the regular MLS season.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I guess that was, yeah. I don't know. Was that a flop? I can't tell at the end if he got his foot or not.
He did, but I think it looked a lot more dangerous than in real time than what it was.
It did, yeah. And that's how it is sometimes. Sometimes the slow motion can kind of take the sting out of it and you can kind of watch it play out. But yeah, there's been numerous times where you see something live and you're like, oh my God, how's he not got a red card for that? Then you watch and you're like, oh, okay, I see now.
Looks like Murillo's being tested. They're doing the ACL test on him. Hopefully, he's okay. And Will, I wanted to mention, I don't know.
So he's coming out for Segura, I think.
Yeah. I don't know how closely you follow Copa Libertadores, but this last Thursday, my team was playing Nacional. They got eliminated by San Pablo. I don't know if you saw the news, but one of the defenders fainted in the middle of the game. He had a heart arrhythmia.
Wow.
He's now in intensive care in the hospital in San Pablo. He's hooked up to a machine. So I know that there's not a lot of folks from Uruguay that watch this, but since we're on a stream and all that, I just want to send some prayers out to his family and hopefully, he can get better soon. Big ups to San Pablo, who came out wearing a jersey today that said Fuerza Izquierdo, which is his last name. Not something that you see a lot from teams that play in different countries. But the support from San Pablo and their club has been unbelievable. And we just hope that, this guy can get better. And right now it doesn't look too good. So
is that what Suarez was wearing yesterday, the shirt when he scored his first goal?
That's exactly it. Yeah, he was wearing it, said Fuerza Juan. His name is Juan Izquierdo. Unfortunately, he had kind of like a heart attack in the middle of the game. It was weird. But right now, he's sedated. They have him in the ICU, and we're just praying for him to get better. Never want to see something like that, especially what we all saw last year. During a couple years ago during the World Cup with Christian Eriksen. I mean, that's not something that you want to see ever on the pitch. Let me tell you, man, when I saw it live, and I've been shook ever since.
Well, hopefully he's able to overcome that, and it's not something that affects the rest of his life. So we'll be thinking of him. We got Mo Football in here. We got our friend Mo. If you want to take a break, and I'll bring him in here, and then maybe you can come back if you get a chance.
Absolutely. I'll be back in a little bit.
I appreciate it, man.
You got it.
Mo, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? I had no plan to be on.
Hey, I love it, man. Spontaneous appearances are the way to go. Get everybody excited. What do you think about this match so far?
So funny enough, I think marketing is not doing so well because I just realized it started. So I literally just jumped in at the 45th minute. But we're in St. Louis. It's soccer 24/7. So we just completed our 6th game over the weekend. So.
Well, me and you have talked about this on the phone. I called you the other night. We talked for maybe 30, 40 minutes.
One of those spontaneous calls.
Spontaneous calls. It's the way to go, man. That's the best calls you can have sometimes. What's your overall take, Mo? I think St. Louis I'm not mistaken, they made it to the round of 32, right? And they lost. I know they lost to Club America, but was was that the round of 32 or the round of 16?
I think that was 16.
Round of 16
because we beat Portland. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. That's right. So what's been your overall take of Leagues Cup this year? You know, I'm sure you watched several games, right?
Yeah. I think entertaining wise, the football is good and it's high intensive. It's just the whole crowd thing that people are talking about, but the product on the field.
Oh, Matty Bogu scores, ties it up. Is he offside?
Oh, that might be very close.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think he called him offside. Might be a VAR review. VAR check. Yeah. I'm sorry, but so you say the games have been entertaining, high level or high intensity.
Yeah.
So you've been impressed with it this year.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that I'm kind of missing out on that part is that it's just offside. In the US. I think that kind of takes it away for me for a little bit because that kind of take it away. It looks like he might be offside.
Yeah, I think he's offside. He looks like he's probably like maybe half a foot offside.
Yeah, just looking at the shade of the grass.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that they will make it like the Mexico and US games to kind of. If balance they want to grow the sport, it will sort of show, what, Mexican leagues and stadium filled up will show like. So that kind of will grow the sport a little bit. But then, there's always that US Open Cup thing. So you try to give them a little bit of credit, but not too much.
Well, also too, Mo, I think that it might. They're trying to get some of these Liga MX fans in America who don't care about MLS to start watching the league. Right. But I mean, who knows? Maybe you could convince some Mexican fans in Mexico if you bring the tournament down there. Maybe you could convince some of them to start watching some MLS games especially when they're not playing Mexican teams, right? Try to get some of the interest. I mean, you can have a team in each league that you support. I mean. St. Louis City's not the only team you support. You got plenty of teams.
you can see it right. Oh, you can see it right there. There's City, and then there's Chelsea, and then there's PSG. But my hometown team where I grew up on, and then I picked Chelsea, and then City's the hometown. So you can, as long as they don't do the whole Champions League when after that your two teams go and meet each other on there, but.
That's a win-win, though, right? You can't lose. At least one of your teams are winning, right? I mean,
that's painful, man. That's painful.
Well, hey, listen, if two of your teams, who was that that shot that? I don't think Kike or Denis Bouanga. I don't think if both of your teams make it to the Champions League, that means that they had a good season. So I think that's kind of that's a win in my book, and especially if your Liga MX team and your MLS team make it to the Champions League, that's a good sign that you had a good year.
Progression, yes.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Nancy? What do you think about him as a manager?
Well, I guess I will always say something nice to him because he's one of my compatriots.
You have to, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But
man.
Yes, but coaching wise, he's definitely showing that he's head and shoulder above, I guess.
Oh, header. Is that Bouanga? No, Olivier Giroud. Olivier Giroud with his first goal.
Oh, header. So it took me to be online too for it to happen.
Huh? You might be the good luck charm for the French connection. Olivier Giroud scored his first goal. Wow. This might end up being an instant classic, man. This might be one of those games.
Yes. And so a Frenchman just scored on another Frenchman's team. So
hey, that's bittersweet. Maybe that's what you were talking about, right? That's because I don't think you. I would assume you don't really care who wins this game. You just want to watch a good match. I just want
to watch some good football. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Nancy's the best coach in the league. I think he's proven that, and he might have to start having a conversation if he's the best coach in the maybe all time if he keeps winning these trophies so early on in his. I'm talking about in MLS, not all time in any.
Oh league. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But there's still the whole Bruce Arena, and those OG.
He is the OG, but I mean, just to do this so early on is impressive. I mean, first year he wins an MLS Cup.
Yeah, that Montreal is the ones that's kicking themselves.
Wow, I cannot believe that. Olivier Giroud, people were saying, a lot of people were hating, saying he was done, man. 37 years old, France's all-time leading goal scorer, had a good season at AC Milan in the 23-24 season. I mean, look, you just class doesn't, you don't lose class.
We have to be fair. The 37-year-old player in today's generation versus the 37 of 10 years ago, it's totally different.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. These players age differently because I think you told me this on the phone. The resources they have, the way they treat their body, the way the game's evolved, completely different than it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, you take Silva that now went back to Brazil. He's freaking 39, and he was still Chelsea's best defender. He just was left because he was 39, but he still plays better. He went back with them, and they have not lost. So it's like, as long as you're not 40, 41, as long as you have that 3 in front of you, I will not.
You're not going to question it. You're going to let it go, let it slide.
Yeah. Suarez just scored 2 goals, right?
Yeah, and he I would say that I would say that physically he's in worse shape than Giroud, especially with his knees and everything by far. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm excited to see what Giroud does. I said before this game, Mo, I said that Giroud is going to be the deciding factor if they win this game. Everybody else is good on this team, but is he going to make the impact? He's made an impact, man. He's got his first goal as an LAFC player. We'll see what adjustments. We'll see what adjustments they make. Oh, did they score again? I think Twitter might be ahead of me. Let's see if they. I don't think they scored again.
I'm at maybe 9:30.
Yeah, that's what I'm on right now too. I just there's an account on Twitter. I see he said Dale, and then he's all caps goal. So I don't know if I kind of threw me off a little bit. Let's see. My friend said he's losing his mind. Let me post this tweet real quick. But I mean, this is great, man. This is great news. This is gonna. I really think that this is gonna go down to the wire. Hell, this might go to penalties, Mo. This might go to penalties and be decided after 90 minutes.
Yeah, I would have hoped that the finals they will just make it extra time and
extra time. I think
because the final shouldn't be, even if if they're still tied, having a penalty for the final is a harsher way to lose it.
Yeah, it would be because it feels like it's out of your control. One bad PK and then it's like you're already down. I don't know. It's interesting. I know why they're doing it because of the just the tired legs. And I mean, this is a lot of games, man. I think LAFC's played this is their 7th game in this tournament in a month. It's a lot of games for 28 days, right? I'm obviously never played at this level, but I would assume that wears you down. Hopefully both of these teams don't struggle when they go back to MLS regular season play from being so tired and fatigued.
Yeah, only time will tell on that part.
Yeah. So you watched the league. Obviously, who do you think is the best team in the league right now?
Oh,
you think it's one of these two teams?
I would say so. I guess I'll probably say LAFC on paper because of who they have on it. But I'll probably give it still to Columbus as the best team. They're the defending champs, so until someone takes the crown, they are the best team.
And would you say besides that also you might give the edge because of who's their coach, because of how good he is?
I would say yes.
Columbus. Yeah.
But then there's Miami that's not too far, but they have players that are above and beyond everyone else.
Let me see if I
even
can
though
get
their
this.
age.
Let me see. We got Danny back. Let me see if I can add him on here. I got it customized. Okay, there we go.
What's up?
Welcome back, Danny.
Hey, Danny.
How's it going, Mo?
Living the dream.
Every day, man. Every day.
He's got French connections both sides. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He doesn't know if he wants the French legend coach, the French legend striker. Now, Wilfred Nazi, he's building his legacy right now, but he's impartial. He's just ready. He's He said he's just looking for a good game, and I think that's exactly what this has been through 62 minutes.
Yeah, and funny story is that I actually met Bouanga before when he used to play for Saint Etienne. So we used to actually watch him at the stadium, even when he would coming to Paris and play against PSG. So close tied to him directly. But it's interesting to see how he flourished and became, like the superstar in LA. Contracts to, in France, he was well known, and and Gabon was like his home country, so he was the guy. But moving to LA, he's literally,
Yeah,
you say Denis, and everybody know who he is.
Yeah, that is cool to see a guy come over here at 28 years old, which that's when your career starts winding down, right? You're not nearly as good as you. Well,
I'll say 20. Yeah, these days 28, you're on your prime.
You're in your prime, but your days are numbered, right? You're starting to reach the part where you're probably going to start to decline a little bit. But I would say, Denis played his best soccer of his career in LA. He's 30 years old now, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. Like you said, he's made a name for himself in MLS and LAFC. And I just based on what you just said, I mean, you can elaborate if I'm reading this wrong, but I think based on what you said, you never even saw him becoming this good, right? I mean, you saw not that he's a bad player, but he's been a superstar in MLS.
So for his national team, Gabon, he was the forward, well known. But Saint Etienne is also a big historical team. So when you put your name out there in Saint Etienne, you have to put in crazy numbers to be considered like one of those greats. So, and I think one thing is, he's doing a great publicity for MLS in France, from what we're hearing, especially for those that are on the cups of maybe being stars, but are being kind of overlooked. And Bouanga definitely is helping his cause, and other aspiring soccer stars wanted to come to the US.
100%, 100%. Let's see. We got a couple comments I want to get to. Let's see. Michael Pelly says next year, Lewandowski to LA Galaxy, Griezmann LAFC, and it just keeps getting better and better. I don't know if Lewandowski will be here next year. Maybe be 37 years old. So that's when now I know we talked about Giroud. Maybe I would take Lewandowski. I mean, who am I kidding? Of course I would take him, but it would just have to see what the contract would be. It's a little tricky once you start getting into that age range. And I kind of want to see what he can do at Barca this year, right? I want to see what he has left in the tank to give. Now, Griezmann, I wanted to see him come this year. It was close. I mean, there's a couple hiccups. I mean, the personal terms were agreed to between LAFC and Griezmann, but the league had to sign off on it, and they wanted some help, and the league rejected that, and that's why that deal fell apart.
And he just scored today too, so.
It's what Danny had said to me that he scored for Atletico. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what else ends up happening. But I'll tell you this, Mo. It just seems like Cherundolo, he's got a good team to get him so far, but he really struggles in these finals. I mean, if he loses this game, this will be his fourth finals loss. Fourth. He lost the MLS Cup final in 23. Lost the CONCACAF Champions Cup in 2023. He lost the Campeones Cup in 2023, and then this will be Leagues Cup he's lost in 2024. So this will also not only be his fourth championship loss, this will be his fourth championship loss in a row.
Ooh, yeah.
Now
that definitely raised eyebrows.
Well, and that's I was talking to my buddy Eric, Voices of Black and Gold, and I said, when you lose that many championships, people are going to say, well, listen, at least he made it, like what else do you want him to do? Well, I mean, I want him to win, obviously. That's if I was a fan, I'd want him to win. But at a certain point, you got to start saying, who can we get that's going to win the game? If PSG lost 4 finals in a row, if Barcelona lost 4 finals in a row, do we honestly believe that they wouldn't fire their coach?
They don't even have to go to 4 finals to lose the 4 finals. I mean, if they lose 4 games in a row, any 4 games in a row, it doesn't matter what league you're in. Most leagues are going to fire the coach. MLS is one of the leagues that doesn't fire their coaches, and they kind of have a really long, kind of long string on their coaches. It's if it was up to me, and he loses this game, I don't take him home. I leave him in Columbus. Hire somebody else tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Cali Rex says getting to the finals is challenging enough. I think he's fine for LAFC, but that's the thing, Cali. Think about this. This is the best ran team in the league. They are expected to be competing for championships. So him not winning them at a certain point, they're going to look at themselves and say, look at all the missed opportunities we've had where we went to 4 straight championships and came up with an egg, right? Goose egg.
Would Bob Bradley, would he have won one of those 4?
That's a tough one because a lot of people think he never been to one with LAFC. I don't even think that that's the best example to use. I'll give you an example. Wilfred Nazi was coaching this LAFC team. How many do you think he would have won out of those 4?
Yeah, I mean, definitely at least one, without a doubt, at least one.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that I think Cherundolo might be a good regular season coach at keeping the ship going in the right direction. But when things get kind of when it's crunch time and the lights are the brightest, I think he struggles.
And that's how the best managers are made, is the final, because once you get to the final, it's more of a tactic between the 2 coaches to figure out how you use your best players.
Chess match, right, Mo?
Yes. So it's pretty much, and I always go back to the Chelsea and Manchester City Champions League, when you saw that Pep would kind of overthought everything on that game, even though he had the same players that he didn't want the Tremblay with. It's just because he got caught in his tactic and lost the game and then he learned from it. And then the next time he won it. And it looks like that's what Cherundolo is probably having a problem with, is that he reaches that part and then he meets another coach that's either even better or to the same level. And then he's getting out coached and lose the game.
Yeah, Cali Rex said there's still the U.S. Open Cup, so they still have that trophy. Okay, what if he loses that trophy too? What if he's 0-5 in his last 5? What do we think then? I mean, come on, there's got to be some breaking point with that, where he's got to start winning these big games. Danny, what would happen if Tata Martino lost 4 championships in a row?
They wouldn't let him lose 4 championships in a row. Remember earlier this season when Inter Miami,
what a pass by Cucho. Oh, what a save by Lloris. Great pass by Cucho Hernandez. Header on target, but saved by Hugo Lloris. What a pass.
What a great ball. Cucho just keeps going at it, and he's trouble for that LA back line. But yeah, getting back to the Tata thing, look, folks were already upset when they were still winning but not playing well at the beginning of the season. Now, I don't think that would have been cause for him to get fired, but it was already talk about him, being on the hot seat. So yeah, I think if he were to lose tonight, Cherundolo, there has to be talk about him being replaced maybe at the end of the year or something like that, because you can't just get to a final. You need to, at some point, you got to win one. If not, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they make this money, right? They're supposed to win the big games. And like I said, LAFC is not grading on the same scale as Colorado or Montreal or New York Red Bulls. They're a team that they expect to win, which I'm not trying to put those teams down, but this is a team where they're expecting championships every single year. If you're being honest, the Colorado Rapids are not expected to win championships every single year. So it's like Madrid, right? Madrid's expected to win every year. When they don't, then they make coaching changes. Hell, even when they do, they make coaching changes. If they don't win the Champions League or at least one major trophy, they'll fire a coach in a heartbeat. So this is just a different scale, and I think that's what MLS has to adjust to. Danny, what the hell is wrong with having expectations? What is wrong with holding people accountable? If you're the best team in the league, you need to be winning championships. What's wrong with holding people to that standard?
Nothing's wrong with it. I mean, for folks like you and me who follow the game in many leagues and understand, understand kind of what happens and the leagues and how coaches get graded and things like that. I mean, we understand that there's certain expectations that need to be had. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like those expectations are something that are held in the MLS. I mean, you had Phil Neville, coaching Inter Miami for almost 3 seasons. He got lucky making the playoffs one year because they had Pozuelo, kind of team up with Higuain, and they just barely skipped in, and then they got eliminated. But I mean, you can't have teams having some of the seasons that they're having and then just continue to have that coach the following year. It just doesn't make any sense. You have to make changes if you want, things to happen. And if you don't, then you're just going to keep reliving the same results that you always do.
Let's see. Horacio said most teams in MLS would love to make it to one final, let alone 4 or 5. How is that bad? Horacio, listen to me, man. What I'm saying is, think about this. This team is built to win championships, okay? Just like Barca, just like Man City, just like Real Madrid. If Pep Guardiola doesn't win if he went 3 years, hell, he wouldn't even get 3 years. If he went 3 years without winning a Premier League title or winning a Champions League final, one of the two, he would be fired probably from Man City if it went 3 years without winning at least one of those, okay? You have to hold standards of good teams. What are the expectations of LAFC? To win trophies. That's the expectations. So if they don't win trophies, they're not meeting expectations. That's why they're getting fired. That's why he needs to be on the hot seat. They're paying him to win championships, not lose them. Look at Mo's team. Bradley Carnell took an expansion team. They were the first team in the Western Conference last year. And they were the first, I think they're the first team in sports in U.S. history to finish first in their conference as an expansion team. And what happens? He doesn't even get a full season the next year. They fired him after 6 months. And this is a guy was coaching an expansion team to first place finish last year.
Yeah, but I also don't think that's 100% fair, though, because, I mean, the team kind of overachieved last year, right, Mo? I mean, look,
yes.
they did. I mean, they did the unthinkable, and they made it, as far as they could. So I don't think it was fair to judge him just on that one season. I think it would have been fair to give him another full season and see if the poor results that they were getting at the beginning of the season would have changed with him at the helm. And if it didn't, then, if he has a terrible full season, then you could say, okay, he overachieved 1 year. This is what the real thing is. We can change. But not giving him another full year after what he just completed, I think is not fair.
Yeah, we were kind of surprised when that happened. I thought he was going to get the full year to kind of. I think he was just a victim of his own success for the first season. Because if you were in Europe, you would have done that. You would have been the champion at the end because you were in first place.
Correct.
Then you would have been it. Unfortunately, he had playoff to go through and discovered that SKC, fortunately, is a team that was built for playoffs. So, and I think and we all know, those coaches do have, contract and performance expectations that they have to do, per seasons. So we all know, like I always say, my club Chelsea is that, you have to win one trophy if you want to save your job. And if you don't, you're most likely out. It's rare to have a coach that says, on my resume, I've been to 4 final. How many have you won? None. Pochettino will always be known at this moment, right, as the guy that had Tottenham play their best football ever. But the one thing he was not able to get him is a trophy. He went to PSG. They gave him the world at his feet with Messi, Mbappe, Neymar. He was not able to do it. Guess what happened? He was out. So I think coaches, after probably being a referee, is probably the most dangerous position in football because, they're not even the one playing on the field, but yet if the team is not playing well, you're out quickly.
Kai Kamara's coming in for Olivier Giroud in the 77th minute. That's interesting. But I don't think we expected Giroud to play a full 90 yet. I don't think he's fit to do that yet. So we'll see if Kai Kamara, who's been kind of a hero here for LAFC lately, scored like 2 or 3 goals, I think, in Leagues Cup. Crazy, 40 years old, looks literally the same as he did 10 years ago. Hell, even 15 years ago. Kai Kamara, he must have found the fountain of youth with the way he looks and he's playing. I just think that MLS teams have to have expectations and standards, Mo, because if you don't have standards or expectations, what's the point of it all? Ooh, Sean, was that Chanot?
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, Chanot. Yeah, I just think that there has to be expectations and repercussions for failure in MLS. Now, Bradley Carnell, I think, was fired too soon. Okay, totally different standard.
We almost can all agree to that one.
Yes. Yeah. Now, if he's bad, if they had bad results till the end of the year, then yes, fire him. That's fine. No argument here from there on that. But LAFC, they just have to start winning. They have to start winning some of these big games in order for him to keep his job. And if he this is the thing, right? If he can't do it, someone else can. There's always someone else who can. No one's irreplaceable.
Or they can do the same thing that he's doing now. I mean, there's not going to be any difference. So replacing him will either get you in a similar place or will finally get you over the hump. And I think you said it best at the beginning is, and it was to your answer to Horacio, is essentially with the team that they've built, the money that they've invested in this team. And Mo even said it as well when he was talking about Chelsea. With the money that you invest in those types of teams, you don't win one trophy, like he said. And it could be any trophy. It could be the Carabao in England. It could be, the FA. It could be the Premier League, the Champions, the Europa League, whatever. You just got to win one. You're safe. And in MLS, it's not like that. In MLS, you could probably have 3 losing seasons, and they're going to keep you. Why? Because you're a nice coach. You attend the academy. You shake hands with the kids, and that's what I think it's about here. It's more of like a family atmosphere, and that's what they want with the coaches. It's not really about, at the end of the day, just about winning.
Oh, Diego Rossi on the counter.
I was hoping when you guys saying maybe Mourinho was coming to the MLS, I was like, Don Garber will probably just leave the league, right?
Yeah, no way. No, Jose's. I think he's washed. Honestly, I don't think. You don't think? Well, think about this though too.
He's not the special one from back then, but the player coach to get the best of players, I think he still get that.
What a pass to Denny Bwanga. Oh, I just don't think that he can really build it out though, Mo, because the limited resources, it would be hard for him to get all the players he would need to really fit his system. And I don't think he's really good at making players who wouldn't fit his system adjusting to make them fit his system. Like he's going to have to, there's a certain type of player that can play for him. And I don't think he could just take over any team and make it work in MLS. I think it would have to be a specific fit that would let him build his team, and it's kind of hard to do in MLS. Be curious to see what he does in the Turkish league this season.
He got a red card.
Did he already?
Yes, he
really
got one already. Yes.
Wow.
Not surprised.
Yeah, he's crashing out already. I don't know, but the coaching definitely has to get better. Someone in the chat mentioned Giovanni Savarese, former Portland Timbers coach and New York Cosmos coach. Yeah, I think he definitely could get an opportunity again in MLS. He had a lot of success, went to an MLS Cup final. Now, Portland obviously hasn't been the most glamorous job the last, 6-7 years. They've had some success, but not to the level of like LAFC or Columbus. I think sometimes even if you're a good coach, you can wear your welcome out and things can become stagnant. The voices just doesn't ring as much as it did at one time. So I could see that. I could see him getting another job and it working out this time. I don't know if I think no offense to Giovanni Savarese, I think LAFC could do better than him though.
I agree. And with the names that you have on the team, I think you have to strive for a little higher for an actual name. The issue that now becomes, do you have the funds or do you want to invest the funds in a big name coach like that? Because I'm sure Cherundolo is not making big money. And if you want to bring a big coach from Europe or a decent name, you're going to have to invest $8-9 million a year. That's the reality of it. Right.
Hey, here's the thing: is LA going to write the Hollywood ending? Or are they going to tie it all together with these players? And this would be Mo's dream scenario. Oh, that was close. Mo's dream scenario: Zizou. He comes out of retirement to coach LAFC. What would you think about that?
There's
Zizou?
no way. There's no way it's happening.
I think you have a better chance of getting Deschamps to come over to MLS than ZZ to come here.
He turned down crazy money. He turned out menu. He turned out everybody. He has one job in mind, and I don't think you will take him out of retirement unless it's the national team.
I agree. That's the
So
only
you
job.
think that's the next move?
Yeah, that's the only, unless something goes bad with Real Madrid and they call him to say, "Hey, we need you for
a third
half
time
a season or something."
Yeah,
he will. I think that's the only team he's willing to drop and just do it. But it's just that Deschamps has performed well enough with the team he has now that he still has the job until he says, "I'm done." But yeah, there's nothing that will take Zizou out of France.
What cycle is this for him? This is let's see,
He's third.
He's been the manager since, is it 2016?
Yes,
Yeah,
the one they won.
Deschamps won it the year that they won. Yeah.
So 2016. So yeah, this will be his third cycle in 26. So that will be his 10-year mark. I mean, maybe Zizou's like what, 51, 52?
Yeah, he's good to wait. He has no problem. He has the money, his skills.
Oh, he's good. He's good. He's just kicking back, right? He's just waiting.
Oh yeah, he's taking pictures, and Adidas is still paying him well. He's not hurting.
Eric says, don't you think Dolo gets a little bit of a pass for a few of the finals losses because he helped them win their first MLS Cup? Also, players were responsible for the first CCL finals loss too. Look, that's a slippery slope. I mean, you say that they're the reason, the players that he lost the first CONCACAF Champions League final. Okay, well then you just get to a habit of, well, that player missed that goal, or that guy didn't make that pass, or that defender didn't mark his man. I mean, at a certain point, you got to start saying, what's the common denominator? It's Rondeau coaching all these teams, right? And I mean, it's his job to get the players organized. And I remember against Club Leon, that when he was playing them, that there was a couple weird moves he had made. Like, I think he played 5 out of the back for like the first time. He played in a formation he had never played in before, and then he had like all in the second leg, which they needed to score. He had like 4 or 5 of his starters not play the first half, which was crazy. I think Chiellini, or no, I'm sorry, it was the first game they didn't play. He like rested his starters in the first game to like put him at a disadvantage in the second leg. Like, I don't think Chiellini even started in the first leg. So I think a lot of the reason that they were at a deficit in that game was because of Dolo, in my opinion. Ooh. Yeah, I think good coaching, a good coach would have won at least half those finals with this team, at least half. A great coach would have won them all, honestly. But I mean, you can't expect to win every final. But I mean, a good coach would at least win half, went 50%, right? I think most teams can live with 50% in finals, right?
I'll take 25.
Not if you're Real Madrid. I mean,
yeah.
But Real Madrid now, they only won 2 trophies, right? They could care less about the rest.
Yep. They only want the Champions League and the La Liga. That's it. They don't care about anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at Mo, look at 2018, right? You win the World Cup, you lose in 22.
I don't remember those days. No.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. But I mean, I take that 50%, man. I'll take that any day. Heartbreak.
No,
I'll take that.
It hurts, man. It hurts.
Yes.
You can't go that low. It hurts, man. No, any, especially if it's your national team, and they lose the final, man, that's a tough pill to swallow, man. Tough pill to swallow.
He says, yeah, fair enough. Eric says this. Yeah, fair enough. I just think that he's a young coach and helped them win their first big title. He's gotten a bit longer of a leash than most. All good points. He should have won another trophy or two. Yeah, and that's the thing. He did win their first, but he won them their first trophy. But that was the first and only trophy he had won. That was 2 years ago. He's done nothing since. It's all been appearances with no hardware. And Kai Kamar runs into Hugo Lloris. A little bit of a heavy collision there. Or not Hugo Lloris, I'm sorry. Hagen, my bad, Hagen. Got French on my mind. runs into Hagen there. It looks like he'll be fine. I think he'll be all right. But yeah, I mean, you got to hold him accountable. He's got to win these big games. You got to win these. Like LAFC is not spending all this money and all this resources, nicest facilities to come second. Nobody ever remembers the silver winner. They always remember the gold medal winner, right? Nobody remembers the guy that was second.
Unless you're the guy that was second.
Yeah, exactly. Him and his family, they know about it because he's always talking about how he was the close one, right? Ronaldo, he was the runner-up. Messi, he wasn't as good as me. He's telling these stories to himself in his head.
We've had a really good second half, man. This second half has been really good, back and forth, chances on both sides, a lot of substitutions. So we've gotten to see the change of pace play here. And I mean, I know we're 2 minutes left in normal time here, but LAFC has looked a lot closer to scoring 2 than Columbus has.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if LAFC is able to get this to PKs, I mean, I think that's a good result from how the first half was looking for them, in my opinion. I thought LAFC was completely outplayed in the first half.
Absolutely. But the second half, and I think the O'Brien sub made a huge difference in the midfield. You've seen LAFC kind of take a little bit more control in the midfield with O'Brien in there. And then, they ended up making more subs. They put Kike Oliveira in. So, no, I mean, I think LAFC and Cherundolo has done everything that in his power to get his team to win. And now it's in his players' hands.
Yeah. No, for sure. That makes me wonder. We talked about this earlier about the PKs. Maybe that's what Columbus wants. Maybe they want this to go to PKs. They got the home field advantage. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want to get this to penalties. They're 30 seconds plus stoppage time away from making that happen.
And that would be 2 Leagues Cup finals in a row that go to penalties, because last year's League Cup final, and I don't think, well, we'll find out if it goes to penalties, but I don't know if it could top last year's League Cup final where you had all 11 players on the field shoot, and you had Drake Callender score the winning goal on
Stuver, I think.
No. It was the Nashville
the
goalie.
Backup, right? Yeah, the backup. Yeah, it was the backup goalkeeper because he's good at PKs. I remember that actually.
Yeah. So
his name.
Me too. But it's gonna be Panico. Panico was his name.
Panico. Yeah, that's right.
But it's going to be also 4 minutes at a time. So it'll be interesting if it goes to PKs, if it could top, that excitement from last year. I think overall, this game has been a lot better than last year's game.
Yeah, that's what I thought I thought it would be, right? Because Miami was broke. They were kind of a broken toy last year with it. Like it was a sugar rush. They weren't a good team, but they had some good players that made it interesting. And Nashville SC wasn't a very good team. These are the 2 best teams in MLS right now, arguably. So you're getting an MLS Cup quality matchup for a Leagues Cup final.
Absolutely. Hey Mo, I have a quick question. Did St. Louis include any of the Leagues Cup matches within the season tickets?
No, I had to pay for those. Nope.
And how much were the like average price for a game?
I think they were 25 for the supporter section.
Was that Cucho Hernandez?
Oof.
Yeah, Cucho Hernandez.
Yep. Cucho puts it away. Unbelievable.
Cucho Hernandez, MVP.
No, that's not Cucho. He's going.
I don't know if he touched it. I don't know if he got ahead of
Russell.
I don't know if Russell.
Looks. I don't know if somebody got a touch on it or not, but whoever did was right in front of the goalie. The goalie couldn't see it.
And Cucho is celebrating like he scored because he ain't got no jersey on. So
yeah, there it is.
Wow, goal and stoppage time. Either way, it's a goal, right? It's onside. I mean, it looked like I don't think he got anything on it. Yeah, he didn't. That's a Cucho goal. Wow.
So he just pretty much.
Wow. Oh, Lloris just ate that. Just ate that goal. I think he thought somebody was going to touch it, and he was expecting a head or something, and just went right in.
MVP Cucho. He's been the best player on the pitch, and it hasn't really been close. Honestly, he's earned every penny. Look at Wilfred, calm, cool, collected, man. It's like he expects it. He knows, man. Winning isn't anything new to this man. He's been winning his whole life. He's a born winner.
So how is Montreal feeling now these days, knowing that
they still have a team?
They do.
I thought they got relegated to the Canadian Premier League.
Oof, that's rough, man. That's rough.
Hey, listen, LAFC could pull one back here. They're definitely capable of Cucho in open play.
Could be over here.
It's over. Wow, the dagger. 3-1, man. 3-1. That was my prediction. 3-1 Columbus Crew. Wow.
That's it. It's over.
Wow.
Columbus Crew will be Leagues Cup champion, and Cherundolo will lose his 4th final in a row.
So I guess that pretty much anywhere else in the world, he probably will not have a job next year. But
here he will. He'll get an extension. He made the final.
Will. Yeah, he'll get a long leash. His leash got longer, guys. He's off the leash now. Who we can? He's off the leash. This is crazy, man. This is what Columbus is capable of. Like so LAFC is dominating the second half, right? At least they were. It looked like to me. And then Columbus looked like they were struggling a little bit compared to their second half. And then just at the turn of the time.
What the heck was Aaron Long doing there? Why would
Aaron Long doesn't know what he's
why
terrible.
Would you commit? Why did he commit to Cucho? As soon as he commits, it's obviously a goal. Done. You cannot commit there. You have to continue to play in the middle of them and force Cucho to shoot. Unbelievable, man. Terrible defending.
I'm tweeting right now. Steve Cherundolo is the biggest choker in MLS history.
You're going to get so much heat for that. I love it. I'm going to retweet it.
Good. Hey, prove me wrong. I'll prove myself right. 4 losses in a row.
There you go, man. You got
LAFC fans are brutal. I don't know.
Mr. Mister says a Cherundolo team bottling a final. I'm shocked.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Cosmic Jojo said, "This is why I don't get attached to sports." Hey, listen, that's the best part about sports. When you get hurt, they pull you back in, give you hope, and then when they do finally win, it's like the best feeling in the world. Michael Pelly says, "Wow, see Russell Rowe comment above." Yeah, you said Russell Rowe looks like a good young player. Crew, you said this earlier, might make some good money on a transfer on him. Yeah, I mean, Columbus Crew are your 2024 Leagues Cup champions. They were close. We did a live stream, Danny. We did a live stream for the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. They were 1 game away from winning the MLS Cup, Champions League, and Leagues Cup.
The treble. That would be the American treble.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Nancy is now 2 out of 3 in his finals appearances. He's got a 66.67% win percentage, 2/3. That's what a good coach does.
Hey, and if it wasn't for Montezuma's revenge, he might be 3-0.
Yeah, exactly. I think yes, the diarrhea scandal, right?
The diarrhea scandal.
Diarrhea scandal. Hey, I actually had someone tell me, which I trust this guy. He said that he thinks that that's legit though. Like they really did have food poisoning that bad. Like it was really that bad.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. I mean, that stuff is known for in South America. Like that's what they do. That's why you got to be careful sometimes. That's why a lot of teams take their own cook, especially to like World Cups and stuff like that. You'll see they take their own cook, they take their own food and stuff like that because the players are used to eating a certain way. And you don't want to get Montezuma's revenge.
That's known that every team's, at least the big ones, they do have everything going with them because you don't know what's going to happen. And that's why they don't tell you which hotel they stay most of the time, because they will have 10,000 fans at their window singing, dancing, playing music at 3:00 in the morning just to disturb you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, well, guys, I'm gonna make a couple statements here, and then I think I'm gonna call it. We've been going for 2.5 hours. MVP of this match, Cucho Hernandez. I don't think it's even close. Was a little surprised Diego Rossi didn't make a lot of noise in this game as usual. He actually kind of had more of a quiet game compared to what he normally does. He wasn't bad. He just wasn't as noticeable as usual. MVP, Cucho Hernandez, Wilfred Nancy, etching himself in history as the MLS GOAT. It's getting closer and closer. Mo said, don't disrespect Bruce Arena's name. But hey, man, this is the modern day MLS, and to win trophies like this is very impressive. Very impressive.
I'll
think
take
if he,
that any day.
yeah, I think if he wins MLS Cup this year again, back to back, you got to start having that conversation.
He won't be coaching Columbus next year if he does that. I'll tell he will be in Europe.
Yeah, he will be. He will be, and he deserves it, right? He deserves it. It'll be, it will be. I will be very curious to see where he ends up. Who gives him a chance in Europe? Because whoever does, I think they're going to be very happy with what he's able to do for them.
Maybe the French league. You never know.
I think he could go to the Premier League. Honestly, I think he could maybe get a chance to coach a Premier League team.
Yeah, maybe one of the smaller teams, like a Bournemouth, a Southampton, something like that. Somebody who is not investing so much, but who can have a good tactician like Wilfred Nancy, a good mind, and can kind of grab the team and kind of do what Marcelo Bielsa did with Leeds, right? Something like that would be fantastic. I think Wilfred could definitely do that.
Yeah, start small.
Start small. I mean, listen, you never know. I mean, listen, not anyone can coach, but a good coach can come from anywhere, So like, I think Wilfred obviously had the non-traditional route, starting with Montreal's academy, coaching Montreal, one of the worst teams in MLS, making them one of the better teams, then going to Columbus and building a dynasty with them. I mean, it's positive. It's good. I mean, if MLS is very lucky to have him in their league. And this is why I wouldn't have been totally upset if he was the national team coach, because I've seen what he can do. He just wins. Obviously, I'll take Pochettino over him. But hey, listen, if we had to go the MLS route, that's the guy I want. I don't want this loser who loses every trophy. I don't want a Greg Berhalter that coaches LAFC. So, yeah, guys, I mean, hey, listen, this was a great game. Loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll start off with Mo. Mo, where can everybody follow you at?
Oh, everything on Mo Football TV and podcasts, and I guess anywhere you see me on social media, I'll be there. And bother most people on Twitter, though.
Hey, make sure you follow Mo. Mo's the man, good friend of mine. Love his content, good guy. Make sure you check him out on Twitter, and make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. And then my co-host for the Leagues Cup, Danny. Danny, where can they follow you at?
At Danny Solana 5 on all social media. And let me say, it's been a pleasure to be on this pod on this stream with Mo. I know it's been a long time coming. We've never gotten to join up, but it was awesome to talk some football with you, my man. And whenever you want to talk more French soccer, man, I'm in, bro. I love talking French soccer.
Hey, we'll have plenty of time to do that, I'm sure.
Awesome. 100%. Well, guys, I appreciate it. It's been a great stream. Until next time, I will see you all soon.